Uh-oh, what happened? There we go. Oh, hey.
What? Huh? What's going on? All right. Hello and welcome to the Astropub, ladies and gentlemen, with our weekly podcast, The Captain's Table. I myself am your humble host and space bartender, Paul Berserker 1, Batman Shelley. And this is the Astropub. Here at the Astropub, while we host the Captain's Table, this is all about content creators from all over Star Citizen coming together and talking about the game. We have a different cast every week. And this week we've specifically got the Test Gaming crew together. So
the entire Test Gaming crew.
The entire screw you, Red Lear and
the only
Gamble.
Gamble and who's this Gamble guy and Richard guy anyways?
Yeah,
we don't need
those
them.
guys. So I'm going to go around the table, and we're going to ask, so you can find out who these lovely content creators are. And the first one, the loveliest of the content creators, Meyer, Test. Who are you? Where can people find you? What do you do?
Hi. My name is Meyer. You can find me at twitch.tv/Meyer_test. As the name may imply, I'm from Test Squadron. So are I think everybody else in here as well. What do? I stream almost every day. Sometimes Star Citizen.
Awesome. and he's also part of this thing called Bulkheads that we do.
Ah, yes. Indeed. Thanks for helping with the shout out. Yeah. I'm also involved with the Star Citizen Bulkheads Machinima project, where I do a couple voices. But no faces.
Let's hear the Jamaican voice. I want to hear a Jamaican part.
Oh, God.
I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about, sir. The character I play is not from Jamaica. For heaven's sake, they're in space.
They're in space. Exactly.
This from Space Jamaica, then.
He's not actually from Space Jamaica. He's from Space Ireland. People just really confused about the accent. That's all.
So ignorant, me.
Alrighty, and next to Meyer, it's our first time here at the Captain's Table, but we have Ms. Hartz. Who are you, Ms. Hartz? And what do you stream? All that kind of stuff.
I am Ms. Hartz. I stream mostly Star Citizen with some NES games, and on Monday nights I do a creative stream.
Excellent.
And sometimes I drink too much and play Faster Than Light.
That's the only way to play Faster Than Light is to be, because I still have flashbacks from every time I've played it live on stream, and my crew always dies in fire. I don't understand it. They always die in fire.
I take a shot for every crew that dies.
Wow, you must get trashed.
I have stories. Yeah, I've gotten pretty trashed playing Faster Than Light.
I was going to say that's not a comment on her skills. Everyone dies a lot in Faster Than Light. It's kind of like it's like XCOM. You go in expecting to lose half, if not everyone you started with.
That would be like Bayor taking a shot every time something doesn't go right when he's doing a science experiment on stream.
It's a good idea, actually.
Go ahead, Ms. Hartz.
So there was one time that I killed the entire crew. And I died.
On purpose?
The entire ship died. No, not on purpose. And that was the first time I had done a Faster Than Light stream like that. So I thought I would take a shot for each crew member that died on my ship. I've since changed that rule. Because it was 6 shots, except I didn't realize I was also using a double shot glass at the time. I took 12 shots all in a row. I don't remember most of that night.
All right, and Bayer, who are you? Where can they find you?
I'm Bayer. They can find me streaming in the morning on Twitch.
What do you
Bayer
stream?
of Red. I stream Star Citizen, and that's pretty much it.
And
I don't think I've ever streamed anything else.
Yes,
Not
you
to
have.
my knowledge. Have I?
Yes, you have.
Okay,
You
I streamed
did-
something
you
else
did
once.
Throwback Thursdays.
Oh yeah, I did some
for 2
retro
weeks.
stream. Did
Yeah.
some old school Mech Warrior once and Zork, and nobody watched. But it was fun. It was at least fun. But yes, I stream Star Citizen. I break down ships. I review them. I go through spreadsheets. I do lots of fun tests and science on stream. And occasionally I do some 90s karaoke theater.
Yes.
For those of you that don't know Bayor, his science aspect of testing the game is so thorough and respected that CIG actually uses his data when they go back to look at rebalancing and fixing things. They review his data.
Yeah.
Straight up, and this happens all the time. But every time someone CIG will go, "Oh, can we get some input on how you want to change this or that or the other thing?" Every time I've said, "Hey, have you checked out Bayer?" Every single CIG employee says, "We know Bayer. We know who Bayer is. Please stop telling us who Bayer is." Alrighty. And Witch Kitty, who are you? Where can they find you?
I'm Witch Kitty. I am a variety streamer. I've started streaming Star Citizen more frequently after being gone for several months. Yeah. And I'm part of Diverse the Verse with Miss Hearts and Girl and several other lovely ladies.
It's like Captain's Table, only all women right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, right now.
Right now. So it's like Captain's Table, only better.
It's like other Star Citizen podcasts with far less beards, I think is a more accurate description.
There we go. Less with less beards.
Beardless podcast.
Not completely none.
You have to have your beard tax. You have to have the one beard in there. Otherwise, space wouldn't work. That's how it works. The token beard. And I'm getting the last one. Sorry, I'm fixing the pod follow thing. Sorry, I just did a 24-hour live stream, so my brain is still a little.
Did you get any sleep?
Yeah, I did.
Good. I haven't gotten any sleep since you finished your live stream.
Alrighty, there. So this should be fixed now. Save, and of course, I am contractually obligated to mention that Eric McKetton is a Star Citizen live streamer and is in no way a prima donna or a pain in the ass to work with on a regular basis. But
thank you very much.
Feel free to fill the rest in.
And my lawyers, thank you as well. I'm Eric McKetton. I'm primarily a Star Citizen streamer. I stream usually 5 days a week, sometimes 6 or 7. Lately, I've been streaming other games simply because after a while you get burnt out on Star Citizen, and that's the truth of it. And I do some creative streams every once in a while too.
Awesome.
And that's me.
And I, of course, am Paul Shelley, host. I stream every day.
Trillion. Hi, Trillion.
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then, of course, we do Saturdays here. Sundays I do kind of off streams, and Wednesdays I will stream every once in a while, depending on what it is. But with work, I have to kind of do some things out, but mostly Star Citizen. Alrighty, so the first topic of the evening that I want to talk about is this is something that I've seen brought up a little bit, and I want to get you guys' opinions. Is do you think we're going to really get any kind of real big content or even like cool, like oh my god moment from the ATVs between now and CitizenCon? Because we've only got like 3 weeks to CitizenCon, 3 or 4 weeks.
That's
to CitizenCon.
true.
We've already got a couple of those actually, so I would expect we get a few more. I mean, the I don't know about the rest of you, but the dynamic music was an my god
that's
moment
what I was
for
going to
me.
mention.
Yeah.
So when you say that, ask the question, do you mean like seeing that in ATV or like?
Yeah, seeing the destruction and destructive environments in Idris, or like seeing the a preview of like mechanics in 2.6 or something like that.
The image stabilization video that got released, was it yesterday?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that was a good video.
Ridiculous, man. So many things that you could pick from that video.
Hey, what was that? Hey,
What
was that?
Exactly.
I heard something.
I think
I heard something.
No, it's nothing.
I know I heard something.
I think the biggest thing I picked out from that video was that's what poor Olisar looks like at 80 frames per second.
I know,
Holy
right?
crap.
I've showed you how to play offline before, Bayor. That's what it looks like when you play offline. It's
Yeah, I haven't done that yet.
But yeah, the FPS looked really slick there. But that's not answering your question. I don't know. They've shown us quite a bit. I don't know. Maybe they want to save the big guns for CitizenCon. But who knows? Because they've been kind of like just spoiling us these past couple weeks. So maybe. I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's going to be little things. I've seen little things that I've gotten excited about, like seeing the top speed of the Herald. I was pretty excited about that.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing what was that, Dumpers Depot hidden away at the end of that video, like little things like that make me excited.
I was gonna say it depends on what you mean by a wow. I mean, We're Star Citizen junkies. Little things are
Yeah.
wow.
I know, but something that we could take to our non-Star Citizen backing friends and be like, look at this.
Probably not. I don't
Yeah, probably
expect
not.
that
No.
because the things that impress us when we've been playing this for so long and testing it for so long are not the things that impress your average gamer, because we've started to learn what really is, like the port modification tool. To us, that was impressive, not because it's fun to use, but because it meant they moved the way CryEngine handled data to a server side, which hasn't been done before with CryEngine. That was freaking impressive.
It also meant the
Everybody
death
else
of
is
the.
no,
It also meant the death of the hated and like absolutely.
temporary retirement of the holotable. It's coming back.
I know, but long live the hollow table. Long live the port attachment system. As much as bad as it is 10 times better than that buggy ass hollow table.
No, it isn't, because the holotable, I could reset it when things got screwed up.
That is
I
true.
can't do that with the port mod tool. They didn't give us a reset button, and when you're like me or when you're like Bayor, when we're constantly changing things around to test it, it's so easy to get it screwed up, and there's no way to reset it. You're just kind
Yeah.
of stuck.
For all its vices, I kind of miss the holotable. I mean, like, why not both, right?
Well, that's
Because
the goal is to have both.
Options.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now, we brought up the preview. Do you think? And this is stupid, but do you think this means we can become homicidal mass murderers in Port Olisar?
So I think the plan is, or at least the dream, is to in the future not have armistice zones at all.
Right.
So I think that maybe not in the near future, but they're gonna have to wants to see how they can work things around. They're gonna have to make it so that you're able to do stuff like that if you have the clearance. I mean, look, remember ArcCorp from 2.0, that sign in the immigration thing that says only people with clearance level 6 can go in here with a weapon. If they can do things like that, so that you have to do several ICC missions to be able to earn the rank to be able to have your gun inside.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we do know is coming is some form of automated security system. We've seen demos of it when they showed. I think it was when they first showed us the iterations of the inner thoughts system on that demo, where they blasted a hole in the glass and it started to suck out the air. There was automated turrets in that detected when people were shooting and responded. And we've seen pictures of them in jump points as well. So there's probably gonna be some sort of automated turret system for defense. And my guess is the way it's going to initially be set up is if you pull a gun out, it's going to fire on you.
Yeah.
It'd be like RoboCop. You've got 10 seconds to comply. You've got 5 seconds to comply. That kind of thing.
With the visual stabilization sneak peek and stuff, we saw for the first time NPCs doing FPS. So
Yes.
I think that's actually a really important thing, because then you can have like a security room, and if somebody does something like bad, then they can start filing out of that room and taking care of the people who are doing bad things within Port Olisar. You're going to need to have like NPC guards and stuff. And I think that when subsumption comes in and NPCs will be able to like go about their own lives and also react to things like that, that's kind of when they can afford to say, okay, guys, you have free reign. You can do things if you want to, but beware the consequences. My only fear is that because it's an alpha game, that people aren't going to care too much, because Death of a Spaceman and stuff like that, you're not going to lose anything.
And ultimately, though, the way that's going to work is
Grimhex.
you'll immediately become a criminal and you'll respawn at Grimhex, and and then Grimhex is going to be probably have similar rules, but a little bit more lax in terms of it is going to be like it is now, a Wild West kind of scenario.
I would expect.
As Bayor and I discovered the other night when we ran into each other in an airlock, and he killed me because he thought I was shooting at him, and I was just trying to clear my weapon.
Well, I think that's the thing, is that like places like Grimhex need NPC guards, or just like NPCs walking around around the outside and the inside, and you need like an NPC like fighter pilot flying around, or a couple fighter pilots flying around to protect.
And I would also submit that the system should be reworked, so if you actually kill somebody, that should be like an automatic 5-star wanted level, like your automatic a public enemy. If you
I'd agree with that.
To make it a little bit more difficult to a little bit less forgiving, because right now killing somebody is on the same level as shutting off a comm array.
Those comm arrays are important, man.
Life or death.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of like if killing some murder is the same as jaywalking. Everyone gets the same punishment.
That's the way it is right now.
I'm a little worried about about having AI as your primary security system, mostly because I've been playing Star Citizen for so long and just dealing with the AI. I'm like, yeah, they're pretty much incompetent to deal with players, especially players who are going to go outlaw most of the time. So I think players, like for instance, if you have a security room at Port Olisar that spills out all these FPS AI, I think players are going to find that fun. Honestly, they're going to go around killing players. They're going to go, awesome! Here's all these stupid AI I can kill in the process.
You know what? I think that's part of the fun though. Like I think at some point someone's going to want to take over Port Olisar, and they're going to want to like see if they can do it and how long they can hold it. Very true. That'll be part of the and you know, even though yes it is alpha and it's buggy, but it's part of alpha. Like showing CIG what's broken and where it's broken helps them fix it.
But, and there are also plenty of us that like to play the police role. I love doing that. I will go into the universe specifically with the idea of I'm going to be a police officer today. And I will go around and I will watch the chat for when somebody says this dickhead keeps shooting at me or this dickhead keeps messing with me and I'm like, oh, what's that dickhead's name? Because he's my target now. I'm going to be the police. I'm going to go and nail him over and over again.
Self-governance.
Yeah,
I like
it'd be really
that.
cool. Really cool to like earn the ability to be able to use a weapon in Port Olisar and draw it whenever you want, so long as you don't hit somebody.
Oh, that could easily be like a reputation thing too. So
exactly. Yeah.
And I can see somebody like Mitachi who loves FPS wanting to be a police officer on Grim Hex or on Olisar just for doing that because he's not really a pirate. He's kind of a more middle ground guy, whereas WTF would want to be the pirate guy on the same place.
Yeah, I feel like for both zones, Grim Hex and Port Olisar, I think that the price to pay for killing somebody in what are now Armistice zones should be super high. So that, in Port Olisar, if you do pull out a gun and you shoot somebody, you're not going to be able to come back in 10 minutes and do it again. Like, you're going to have to work your way back into, either, a time cooldown or a security post-career, like, long event. Otherwise, in this setting in an alpha where you don't lose anything, it's going to be just frustrating for people who are trying to play it straight.
And Torellian's got a great idea. Basically, riot control systems. Not guns that necessarily kill you, but guns that stun everybody, or drop concussion grenades or whatever, and then the NPCs swoop in.
Well, Microtech
gas the station.
Gas the station. That's what that was like. Star
Kill
Trek's,
everyone.
That was Star Trek's like solution whenever there was like a mass takeover. Like, can we gas everybody? And it's like, what? And you first they were like, oh yeah, it's just like you think it's knockout gas. Then later they talk about later they talk about in the series they're like, yeah, it's actually toxic and will kill someone really quickly. And it's like, so your solution was just to murder everybody, men, women, and children.
Nerozine gas.
Nerozine gas. Yeah, it's like, let's use the same thing. I'd love knockout gas though, like just riot gas. But Microtech, the guys who make the Moby Glass, they're supposed to also make some knockout like weapons, like not less than lethal weapons. So can't wait for we see that. And there's the stun baton that came with the police, the Cutlass Blue that we have as well. So we know they're supposed to be in there. It'd be nice to see them there, though. I think police are coming to get Eric finally.
That's
oh, sorry. Sirens outside.
The Mounties are coming for Rich Kitty.
On their moose.
The Mountie Hunter.
They're coming to get me. It's okay.
So quick, kind of moving right along. Are any of you guys more inclined to get the Herald now that we've had a little bit more of an in-depth look at it than you were before?
Not really.
You have one. So.
I'll judge it when it comes out.
Yeah. I'll watch Bear's stream first and then decide.
Yeah, there you go.
Consult the spreadsheet.
One of the nice things about being a subscriber is I know I'll get a chance to fly it at some point. And I won't have to pay anything for it, other than what I'm already.
Yeah, I want to fly it before. For most ships, I fly them before I buy it.
And also, one of the nice things about being, Eva Cadi is I'll probably get to fly it regardless of whether or not I own it. Because
the perks of being an avocado.
Yeah, of course, it won't fly right when I do it, but that's the downside.
I mean, I like it. I like the concept of it. I like that it's fast and able to get away from most ships. So it's kind of a weird non-combat pure scanny thing and a lot more effective than the Anvil Terrapin sounds at that. because it's going to just run away. So I like it. I like everything about it.
The way they talked about it, calling it a drag racer and stuff, makes me think, are there actually going to be drag race events? And if so, how a drag race is going to work? Like, in a drag race in real life, it's a race, shifting gears, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But in Star Citizen, you just push the throttle up. So in the future, are you going to have to switch gears and stuff? Is it going to be that involved, or?
I'm wondering if they don't do three dimensions. So like instead of just going straight, you have to go straight, and then you have like arcs that you have to fly through. So you either have to make sure you like pull the stick up at the right time, make sure you have like you're hitting your maneuvering thrusters at the right times, and without spinning out and blowing up, kind of situation. I think that would be add the shifting gears aspect of like being able to go up and down, because otherwise it's just whoever gets the start off faster is the one's going to win, kind of thing.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see. I mean, my dream, I say that, it's quite lame, but
I have a dream.
I'd love to see like freelancers, like a freelancer
dreams
race,
aren't
right? Like a multi-crew race where like, one of your crewmen is actually working on overclocking the engines and swapping the gears up, when they need to. I mean, that would be really cool.
So you have a pit
That
crew.
would be cool.
Yeah, exactly.
The crew on board. Ooh.
Exactly. How awesome would that be? Like, one guy's watching the temperatures, the other guy's like, Captain, you better stop now, otherwise you're gonna blow the warp core, and your captain's like, I don't care, Man, I dream
With those
sometimes.
voices.
Yeah, exactly.
Raw speed!
Everybody wants to have a Scotty, or they want to be Scotty in this game.
Exactly.
That's what I've learned. The one role that everybody's most excited about is there going to be a Scotty-like position where you can do stuff that you're not supposed to be able
What?
to do.
No one wants to be Uhura, like
Communications.
Hello.
I mean,
I do. I just want to screw with people in communications. Be like, thank you for calling the ship. Your call is important to us.
I really
Captain,
do hope that
incoming mail.
communications will be quite involved. I mean, like, being able to, I don't want to be able to see a ship, press the button and talk to them. I want to be able to send a hail, and then
Right.
they have the choice to
Yeah, they
accept
have to
or deny.
respond.
They've talked about
Yeah.
hails before.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
They have mentioned that. Yeah, I think I remember it was a 10 for the chairman that he talked about hails and being able to do that, which I hope so too, because I want immersive communication.
And that would also help with the whole prospect of dealing with people you don't want to talk to for whatever reason. Like if I recognize Meyer's name as this guy that always comes on voice chat screaming and cursing and playing music or whatever, and he sends me a hail, I don't even have to press ignore. I just ignore. I literally don't respond to the hail.
Who is
and I
this
can't hear
near
him.
character?
God damn it. Now that you mention it, I'd love to like at least once like play like a pirate or something, at least once, and like send a hail to like some large ship, and then like when they accept, there's no picture, there's no voice, just music, like Mozart's Requiem. Like, what's happening?
And then all of a sudden, pew, pew, pew.
Exactly.
That'd be the best way. Like if I could counter a wreck like that, like a wreck that is like, oh, there's a distress signal. You put it up and it's just like Blue Danbu or something like that. And just as the ship is spinning, I'd be like, all right, I'm gone. Thank you, but no thank you. I'm not salvaging this ship. That shit's haunted. Goodbye. I don't.
Exactly. Attacked by a ghost ship.
Yeah.
That reminds me of
want.
an idea for bulkheads I had the other night that I was going to tell you guys.
Okay.
But the concept is, there's an attack going on, and next time you guys have an attack, and the captain says, start playing Ride of the Valkyries, and they push play, and instead it's like Air Supply, I'm All Out of Love or something like that. It's like, damn it, I told you not to put that tape in there.
You had one job.
Yeah,
Brock, stop playing with a mixer, guys.
exactly, something like that.
So Earthfire puts up that you can contact people when you're on your not on your friends list, and you could put out a global distress beacon. But that brings up a good point about the global distress beacons. It sounds like we don't actually have distress beacons. We have service beacons, or just beacons, which you can drop, which can send out messages that you need help, you need fuel, you need a friend. I don't know. You need a hug. I don't know. Like whatever you want.
There's some
Like,
music.
yeah, like hey, yo, can I
Inside
get
the
some
bank
weed?
thing.
Where's the weed? Or yeah, like it's like intergalactic dating. I like long walks on the beach, and I need someone quickly. Kind of thing.
I really do hope that your EVA suits in the future do come like equipped with a distressed bacon.
Bacon.
Because
Yes.
yeah, exactly.
We were supposed to get one
got
like
hungry.
2.4 or 2.5. It's just it keeps getting delayed. But they were talking all the way back for the 2.4 release. They were working on a personal what they called a service beacon that you could drop for people to come and find you. Like so,
That would be convenient.
we reached the point where, and it would create basically a waypoint from what I understand. So if Bayor's out there and his ship gets blown up by that jerk Meyer again. Instead of Bayor had just committing suicide and having to respawn, he could drop that distress beacon so that I could actually fly straight to him and quantum drive to him and pick him up.
The amount of times
And
that
rescue missions like that are fun.
the amount of times I've had to like use the guns as a way to figure out where somebody is if they fall off a ship is
That actually used to be on the EVA control list. There was something called Personal Beacon that was on there for a bit.
Yep. And
It didn't do anything, but it was there.
It's something they've been talking about more and more since 2.3. They've been talking about the personal beacons, constantly talking about it, and now I think we should be getting it soon. Like if not 2.0 or 2.6, we probably definitely need something like that by 3.0.
We'd have to have it by 3.0 because
Yeah.
of size. Yeah,
It's just so big.
I think the tech is in there now because now if you get like close enough to a player,
Yeah, you
who's
see
an
the little-
EVA, they do exactly.
Yeah, so that's how people like scan inside of Security Post Korea. It's like they'll see people if you're in Korea and you're holding Korea, you'll see sometimes you'll see a ship that pops right up next to the security room and it just sits there. And what they're doing is they're using the sensors to try to find where who's in there and where and what their names are.
That's pretty crafty.
Yeah,
Sneaky bastards.
or they're getting ready to self-destruct and kill you.
Oh, it doesn't work
Still
anymore.
works.
Is it still
Well,
working?
it does work at certain spots. Yeah, it still does.
Yes, ego, please create a beacon that's just wubba lubba dub dub over and over and over again. It's the party beacon, baby. But yeah, and also it's gonna be great for like immersive interactions or emergent gameplay interactions with things like pirates, putting off a distress beacon in the middle of nowhere.
Thank you, Jock Itch. Oh, stop it. Oh.
I mean, I did, comb the beard and put on makeup and everything for you, Jock Itch. So thank you.
Does this mean I need to put my beard back on?
So what do you guys think? And this is a generic question, but I do like to hear these responses. What do you think we're going to see at CitizenCon? We'll go around the table, starting with Meyer. Meyer, what do you think we're going to see at CitizenCon?
So at Gamescom we saw a whole bunch of stuff in the future for Star Citizen. So I'm thinking that CitizenCon is going to be very Squadron 42 heavy. So there's going to be most likely a vertical slice of the first mission, probably like a chapter, no, not an entire chapter, but like a lengthy bit. It's not going to be choreographed like the way Chris Roberts choreographed Star Citizen and stuff, because it's going to be hard. It's going to be a story mode game, right? That's what I think we're going to see. On top of that, maybe we might see, I don't know, the Drake Herald, perhaps flyable or whatever. But I personally think it's just going to be very Squadron 42 centric. Maybe they might introduce another actor or something. I don't know.
Miss Hartz, what do you think?
Well, I think Myers probably onto something there. That it's probably going to be Squadron 42 heavy. That does make perfect sense. Before he said that, I was thinking atmosphere.
Any more atmosphere stuff?
All right.
I think they have said a little bit of like Planets 2.0, as they said.
Yeah, we will be seeing Planets 2.0.
So we'll be seeing maybe jungles, crisis level jungles, or one tree copy pasted over and over and over again, like a forest.
Best tree ever.
Yeah, that'll be the test tree, because I'm sure there'll be a test symbol carved into it somewhere, because there's always a test symbol on everything.
Test tree is best tree.
Yeah.
Aggressive marketing. Just carve every tree.
Bear?
So they mentioned specifically at Gamescom that the planetary tech they were showing was their first version, and they actually said the second version would be shown at CitizenCon.
Right.
So I think CitizenCon is going to be a lot of the stuff that you saw in the German magazine publication that wasn't at Gamescom. So water, forest, different biomes, and they're going to show it in a great detail. I think that's mostly what CitizenCon is going to be. I'd even go as far, if I can be too specific, to say they might use the test ship for the Aquila because they've been working on it. So they might take the Aquila out with the rover and actually run through some of these new biomes and planets with maybe a little short sneak peek for Squadron 42 at the end or sometime during the presentation.
So you think it's mostly 3.0 with a little bit of Squadron 42 at the end?
I think it's going to mostly be 3.0, but it's going to be debuting a lot of that new planetary tech, which is going to be really cool. Things like the water and all the different vegetation and the stuff they've really been able to pull off with that.
How about you, Witch Kitty? What do you think?
I kind of think the Squadron 42 stuff. Not really specifically, though. I feel like that's kind of the goal, like, for the end of the year. They're kind of moving towards Squadron 42.
We've been talking about Squadron 42 for so long.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, they've been focusing on it solely, so it makes sense.
And it's like a set end goal sort of thing. Like, you can actually release said game versus Star Citizen is just like, we're always updating it.
Yeah.
How about you, McKetton?
Well, we're definitely going to see the procedural planets 2.0. They've already told us that. I expect that with that, we'll probably see some of the fun stuff that Brian has talked about in the past, like writing his name in the trees by shooting them with a ship from orbit. That was one of the things they did, is they wrote their names into the trees by blowing them up.
Yeah.
They'll probably show off stuff like that just to show it can be done. And then I'm expecting a Squadron 42 trailer and or release date. I fully expect that they will say, you know, it's not going to be into the 2016, you know, folks. I don't think anybody expects that at this point, because I mean, we saw the AI isn't quite ready yet, and that's, you know, the game's heavily dependent on that. But it'll probably be first quarter 2017, an actual date for release, as well as probably an announcement that the price is going to go up, and maybe, like I said, a new trailer, or maybe one of the actors actually there or introducing the trailer or something like that. But I fully expect that it's going to be focused more on Squadron 42 than Star Citizen, because that's the next thing that you know, that's the big sale and the next big release, really.
One thing I forgot to say, and it's something that Chris actually mentioned a couple weeks ago, with the quote, "The reports of my death are greatly exaggerated," is Star Marine. Because it's something that I forgot to mention. Perhaps maybe something about that, more news on that. That's something that I'm banking on, either in the weeks to CitizenCon or at CitizenCon as well, simply because they showed us quite a lot of stuff there, and also because FPS looked so tight. Sorry, at the visualization sneak peek thing. Like, I can see that being a thing. That's going to be.
And Star Marine is supposed to be in 2.6, and I think we've all reached the conclusion that 2.6 isn't coming out in the next 2 weeks at least.
No.
And then once we get into within a week of CitizenCon, I'm sure we can pretty much all agree that nothing's going to be released in the week leading up to CitizenCon, because they're going to be too busy doing other
Well,
stuff.
I don't know. They did release the PTU right before Gamescom, and they're all really busy.
That's true.
So
they might do a PTU release of 2.6. Yeah.
But a lot of people who'd be playing the PTU are going to be at CitizenCon.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it'd really be a good idea.
That is a good question. I wonder how many Evocati are going to be at CitizenCon. That would be hilarious.
Probably the top
release,
posters. Probably the top Evocati posters, you know, are going to be on CitizenCon.
There's like 5 of us in the server going, where the hell's everybody at?
Yeah.
To the hotel room.
I think what we'll probably see is Star Marine. They'll probably show it off heavily at the beginning. They'll show off the 3.0 land water like exploration aspect, maybe with another little mission, kind of like we got with the Miles Eckhart mission, but specifically with something to do on the planet. And then we'll see, more than likely, like a Squadron 42 reveal with actors on stage and a release date. And the release date will be a firm release, and it won't be 2016 like it was last year. It'll say like December 12th, 2016, or January, or February, 23rd, 2017, whatever. They're like something very specific in terms of the release date, because at that point they'll have a good amount of time to figure that out. So
yeah, and I'm with West. I expect, or I would be very unsurprised if Mark Hamill didn't make an appearance there.
Oh, don't get me excited.
I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see a lot of the actors who live in the LA area who were part of it to be there, because like Mark Hamill I think lives in the LA area, and I think there's a couple other of those actors who live in the LA area who work often in the UK.
And Mark is, he's a longtime friend of Chris's. He loves working with Chris. He loves the project. He tweets about it constantly. He loves his fans. He would be. I'm sure it wouldn't take much to convince him. It's more like, if I'm in the area, absolutely, I'll do it. That kind of thing. So, and the reaction, it would be the best thing CIG could hope for if Hamill walks on stage, especially if he's like in a uniform or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would pretty much that would be, when they say you're going to be blown away, I don't think they could top that.
That would be too good to be true. I think I would just be shaking.
Yeah, just screaming.
I seriously, that's definitely within the realm of being reasonable.
Yep.
Like having Mark Hamill come on as the old man and introduce the trailer would, again, it makes sense. It works with the actual game because he's your mentor throughout the game. So at least through the first game that we know of. So he's a big part in the game for the players. He's the equivalent of like a Sergeant Johnson in Halo, or a like a Soap in or I can't remember his name in the Call of Duty series, or like a Garrus in Mass Effect. He's a constant companion you always see throughout all of them. He's like that rock that you were like, okay, I know I'm in this game.
Well, he's that archetype it's taken, that it really exists in the military. Everybody's got that one NCO that they talked about. That was their favorite NCO, their favorite sergeant or whatever, depending on what army or military you're in, who was gruff. His voice was destroyed from chain smoking 3 packs a day, but yet he could still outrun anybody, even the youngest kids and all that. And he was always your favorite NCO. He had all the knowledge. He cut through all the bullshit. And if he told you to do something, you knew there was a damn good reason to do it. One of those guys, and that's the old man character in a nutshell. And that's Garrus. That, like you said, that's all those characters in those games. That archetype it's a very important one, especially in military parlance. Do
you guys get earthquakes in LA?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, because I'm gonna say, if he does show up, man, I'm not gonna be able to contain my hype. I'm gonna be holding onto my chair so hard the bolts are gonna come off, man.
When I say I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up, that doesn't mean I won't be here at home going, it's so
I imagine Eric's gonna run around the room being like,
exactly
just tears streaming,
because this is exactly how it went down with Gamescom too. Is I will be going, oh my god, it's Mark Hamill, just like with Gamescom. It's like, oh my god, the Dragonfly, it's flyable. Look, it's a flying space motorcycle. And my wife will shake her head and go, I hate this fucking game. That's exactly how it goes. Same with Mark Hamill. Oh my god, it's Mark Hamill. I don't care, and she'll leave. That's how it goes. Completely deflate my hype.
Oh Jesus! But to be fair, every now and then it's good to have a bubble burst. When you're just like, "This is so amazing," and someone come by like, "This is a fucking video game. What the hell are you streaming about, man?"
When I was speaking about the Dragonfly, she's like, "It's not a real space motorcycle. You know that, right?" Yes, I know, but it's the closest I'll ever get.
So, who all is actually going to be going to a CitizenCon? I know I'm going to CitizenCon. You're going to CitizenCon. Baida's going to CitizenCon. Ms. Hart's going to CitizenCon. So, Eric and Witch Kitty, you guys are the only ones not going to CitizenCon.
No.
Yeah.
I was going to, but I can't.
Well, the good news is, Witch Kitty, those of us that don't go, we get to stream and we steal all these guys.
Yes.
All of our hype. All of our hype is just...
it's glorious. The love, the power we get. It'll be me, you, Red Lear, and Moonshiners, I think, are pretty much the only ones from Test Gaming.
I think possibly the only ones that are like even somewhat big streamers, because almost everybody else is going.
Pretty much everybody else, yeah.
Yeah, so look forward to that.
They come back,
fun
we
without
will be
us.
the new kings and queens.
It's like right now, because like everyone's at the Orlando. I swear to God, like half the people in the Stress Citizen community live in Florida, because the Orlando Bar Citizen's going on right now. And it's like, I imagine like half the population of Florida showed up just to go hang out with them. So, in terms of nearby content, do you think that Star Marine is going to be something that will attract more players to the game?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yep.
If when it debuts, it is flawless. That's the thing, and I think that's why it's taken so long. Is they know that too. It's got to be perfect, because if it doesn't come out looking perfect after what people view as a 2-year delay, and yes, it's a 1.5 year delay or so, those people that are waiting on the sidelines are going to write it off entirely. They're going to be like, "This is what they did in 2 years." This, and I've seen this already. On like the PC gaming subreddit, in a game engine that's built for first-person shooters, they can't make a first-person shooter. That's the view that these people have, because they don't know the in-depth work that's going into this. They don't understand combining the first and third-person animations. They don't understand that they're switching from Crisis style to Arma style. All that. All they see is the in-game result. It's got to be nearly flawless, or it's going to fall flat on its face. And I think that's why they're waiting so long. They know that they want to make sure they have as close to flawless as they can get.
I would have to add on to that and say, for real, like the mechanics and stuff that do come out with that alpha release are going to have to be the tightest anything that they've released so far has been on initial launch. I mean, look at the For Honor alpha. Yes, I mean, it's going to be coming out in February, and they only did a closed alpha test, this couple days ago. Yeah. Exactly. But mechanically and gameplay wise, I haven't stopped playing it. I streamed it for like 3 hours, and I keep playing for like another 2, because it's just so fun to play. And that's kind of like what they have to compete with. Many big streamers on Twitch are FPS players, and as such, they'll come in, they'll see Squadron 40, Star Marine, and if it's not good, they'll write it off completely, as you say. There's no mercy for that genre, I think. When you left Mageddon, I looked down at my screen. All I could see was Sergeant Gamble's face rippling in the wind.
So majestic.
Canadian majesty, yes.
I got really distracted.
Oh, yeah, he does have a distracting face, doesn't it? It's very easy to just get lost in those eyes.
It's very stern.
So, in terms of Star Marine, though, do you guys think? Because honestly, I'm at this situation where I'm wondering if what we're going to see at CitizenCon isn't them saying, "Oh, we've got 12 maps for Star Marine, and you have 3 or 4 different modes." Because like the original release was 1 map, 1 mode, maybe the Saddle, which we haven't heard a thing about since.
Last we heard on Saddle, it's been temporarily scrapped. Like, and that was when they were talking about Star Marine back in July. They were like, no Saddle yet. Yeah, like focusing more on the actual combat.
So, but I mean, like honestly, every FPS release today has to have like 5-6 maps plus 2 or 3 modes in order for it to be successful. So I'm wondering if they haven't added 3 or 4 different levels.
We talked about this last night. I fully expect, based on what we saw yesterday, that we will have a Port Olisar map that is like a kind of a capture the flag or control basically control the struts. You got the 4 different struts, and your team's job is to control them, and you get points that way, which then allows for both on gravity based and EVA based combat. So right there, that's one. And of course, we know Gold Horizon, they've been working on forever. They've also demoed some version of like a Levski landing zone combat map. So I would expect that we're going to at least see 2 or 3 minimum.
Man, I just hope that Saddle's fun.
Saddle has to be fun. That's another one of those things that like they really want to do esports. And people are hyping on Star Marine. Like the biggest thing that they could do was Saddle, because if you look at every other kind of, though Star Marine's not going to be this, I'm sure, but any kind of generic FPS game, it's always the games within the games that get really excited, like Griffball and Halo, or the like gun game and Counter-Strike or anything else. It's those kind of mini games within the game that get people really hyped about it. And I think Saddle is really that mini game to many degrees. So
capture the Benny's machine. That's awesome.
Capture the Benny's machine.
Forget the core, but Benny's there, man. It'll make the game more exciting. Yeah, but I think Capture the Core kind of needs to be fast paced. to cater for today's audience. I think
Mhm.
it'll be really boring if it's really slow. I mean, I think it's expecting too much for them to do to handball what Rocket League did for football. I mean, soccer, but hopefully it's fun. That's all I can hope for.
Alrighty, guys. So if you guys are in chat, you can ask any question to individual members of the table or the whole cast. You can ask official CIG questions, but we don't know those. But we
will make it up.
We will make it up, and we will give you an official CIG confirmed answer. So everyone on this table is actually officially a CIG sanctioned. So if you hear Miss Hartz talk about that the female model is going to be coming out in 2 weeks on
Next week
on a side of toast.
Actually, tomorrow.
Yeah. At a side of toast at your local taco vendor, that's what's going to happen. Completely confirmed, 100%.
And if you really want to get on Lando or Xylo's good side, go and tell them. But Eric McKetton told me.
Yeah,
because
that's always
love hearing that.
They love hearing that. Absolutely love it. Let me see if I can't pull this up real quickly. There's one other thing I want to talk about. I'm blanking on it right now. Oh, the sound stuff that we got in the most recent one. Cool, but what do you guys take away from it? Because it seems like they're using the same explosion tech we have right now, but adding a little bit more cool.
Well, I do want to say that the Dean sound is bad. That needs to go. I don't like the Dean sound. It's in Drone Sim, but they had it in the FPS, and they had it in just regular flying around the universe, and that's the only.
Yeah, flying around the universe, it shouldn't be there.
It's Streets of Rage, isn't it? Isn't that the one where you punch somebody and they coughed up like money out of them?
We were talking about this last night, and Mitachi said, just imagine that if you throw a grenade into a room full of people, it's going to sound like you got a one up on Mario.
It's a bit of a silly sound effect, to be honest, especially in FPS. It's like, ding, your goose is cooked. Ding, your goose is cooked.
It was funny the first time I had it in Vandal Swarm.
Yeah.
But it would get old fast.
And just next to all the other sound effects, it just seems so bad because everything else sounds so good. It's like, oh, did you hear that scout flyby? That was awesome. Oh, did you hear the sound of the impacts on my ship? Ding! What the hell was that?
I see you have a machine.
Burrito's done.
Yeah. But I mean, honestly, there needs to be some sort of sound that says, "Oh, you're hitting a target in the distance." That lets you know that you're able to that you are on target or something like that.
In a ship,
they have a sound like that.
We have a sound for that in a ship, and they did that for that reason because there was a point where we had no feedback as whether or not we were hitting. We had to guess. We didn't have sparks. We didn't have the little X indicator. Nothing. And it was just you guessed if you were hitting. And if you were lucky, the shields reacted. That happened like 50% of the time. So that's why they added those sounds in the first place. But I think they pushed a little too far. Even in Vandal Swarm, I can't stand that sound when I kill a Vandal. It's so stupid.
It was
Plus they explode. They make it explosion sound. So it's not like it's subtle that you're killing something.
Yeah.
I mean, with Arena Commander, sure. I mean, I'm all for the more arcadey sound effects, but in the universe, I think that it's a bit much.
Yeah.
Hit confirms are nice, as long as they make them work correctly. But more than hit confirms, I would like to be able to know when I'm actually hit myself.
Yeah, that's the big one. That's so hard to tell right now when you're getting hit, especially from some gun types like ballistics, where it's a big deal if you get hit, and sometimes somebody can hit you 3 and 4 times before you're like, crap, I'm getting hit and I'm half dead already.
Like that night when you killed me, Bayor, I had no indication you were hitting me. I mean, you were firing your weapon, the screen froze, and then I was dead. I never got an indication that you were even shooting at me. My perspective, you were shooting the other direction. You know, and it's really frustrating. It's even worse in a ship, like you said, because there really is no indication. By the time your AI says your shields are down, you're already dead. Shields are down. Thanks, jackass.
The HUD needs to.
And they say it so slow.
But in terms of the dynamic music change, I loved all of that.
Yes.
I think the FPS music sounded a little better than the space music, and really I loved all of it. So if I had to dig in and find something to critique about it is I think it needs to ramp up a little faster. It seemed a little slow to get, ramped up, and then it lingers on after you're clear and there's no more fighting. It tends to linger for a little bit. Just the timing needs to be worked out, but I loved everything else about it.
The way I understood that system is that like the faster you kill people, then the faster it ramps up, and it's like an invisible gauge that goes up, and then it plays the epic music.
I'm pretty sure it's actually syncing it to beats per minute, and so that would be part of it. As the BPM of the music's increasing, you're going to get the delay is going to be shorter and shorter, but it's probably syncing it based on certain bars. So it's going to take, like, if you're in the middle of one bar of music, it's going to wait until it finishes that bar before it syncs the next level, and that's where you start getting that odd delay and whatnot. So,
and I think we'll get that in general, but and it's much more difficult to do this like Chris Roberts likes to talk about. I did this for Wing Commander with Origin FX, but with Origin FX and Wing Commander, it was a single player game doing one thing, where you could easily still kind of script some of the video, some of the audio coming in, coming out. Even though there was open world, it was still a little bit easier to deal with. And in multiplayer environment, when you're dealing with people from, like, someone could shoot 5,000 meters away, and suddenly your combat music kicks up. Like, why the hell? He's not even shooting at me. What is going on? Kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like in Skyrim when that mud crab that's across the map aggroes you for some reason.
Fucking mud crabs.
Why the hell do I have the combat music? Where is he?
I'm gonna have to disagree. Well, not disagree, but I mean, like, with Bayor's point about the FPS music. I don't disagree that it's more epic sounding than the flight music and stuff like that. But I think that the FPS music might just be a tad too extreme for situations that we currently have in post-Korea, where you're trying to listen out for people and stuff like that. And the moment anything happens, it's just like really, really, really loud and blaring. I think maybe it's just a mixing issue, and they were trying to show off the sound and stuff. And, when it's
they were definitely trying to show off the sound.
Well, I think I'm hoping that they have a different triggering system for Star Marine and Universe FPS, just like they have a different triggering system for Arena Commander in the Universe. Otherwise, Arena Commander is going to be the highest possible music setting, stress music, the entire time. It's just constant combat. I feel like they need a different kind of triggering system, and maybe they had the Star Marine kind of triggering system there, where they have constant, high-paced music or whatever.
And Mitachi made a good point about that. As a mostly dedicated FPS player, he's like, it's unfortunate the music's so good, because as an FPS player, I'm going to be turning it off because I want to hear all those other sounds. Yeah. And that's what FPS players tend to do, is they turn the music down as low as they can so that they can focus on the sound of footsteps and gunshots in the distance. And so there's that unfortunate aspect. For me, I'm excited because one of the reasons I play other background music when I play Star Citizen is the current music is so iffy, when it queues up and when it goes away, that it's just frustrating to have it. And this new dynamic system, it sounds to me like something that I can have the music turned up in Star Citizen all the time again when I'm flying around, and it'll work on my stream and not seem, out of place or out of sync.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, we will take some questions. If you guys want to have your questions asked or answered, please hit !question or questions or !question mark, and they will take you to a link where you can ask your questions to anyone on the cast, individual people on the cast. Just make sure that it is relative towards Star Citizen, and if you ask a terrible question, I will make fun of you, and everyone on the strict cast will make fun of you. And don't ask when questions. Please don't ask when questions, because we'll give you when answers soon. Well, no, we won't just give you soon. We will give you specific dates, and they'll be wrong, and they'll be
at 3:21 p.m.
Exactly.
Yesterday.
Yeah. All right. So the first question comes from Human Evil 51. He asks, Dual Universe will have a monthly sub once the game is released. What are your thoughts on that matter? With Dual Universe?
I don't like subscription games. That's my answer to that.
I don't either, but at the same time, Dual Universe is there's no NPCs in Dual Universe. It's all player based. So,
Jokic. Jokic already knows he's going to get laughed at for his question. He's like, how can I take it back?
But no, and if you're talking about, like, do you think we'll have one in Star Citizen? I think no. I think we're going to continue to have that optional subscription because it works for them. You know.
Yeah, I fully expect that they will continue some form of the subscriber system, and what we'll get out of it is like what we're getting right now, hanger flare, things like that. You know, small little items, maybe some extra UEC per month.
I also think that they'll stop
voluntary.
doing. I think they'll stop doing ATV once the game releases. They'll do it. They'll make ATV a monthly rather than a weekly thing because it'll be a little bit easier for them to produce it. They don't need as many community members, or the community members will be doing other things. Like people like Tyler and Jared will be doing things revolving around the game and the game community and all that kind of stuff, rather than how the game's being made. So.
Yeah, I think once the game is actually made, there isn't really going to be too much need having, weekly development updates, because sure, they're going to be developing the game, but what they're going to have to show you may not be as spectacular as, what's coming up towards release.
We fixed the clipping issue in the bathroom of the Cutlass. That's kind of updates you'll be getting then.
You may be getting little previews like, hey, we're going to come out with, playable Xi'an in a year. But that'll be it. Like that'll be like a once in a month. That'll be like a Citizen Con or like a middle of the year sort of announcement.
I also doubt that as a company, CIG will be using that airtime to cover in-game happenings, because I feel like they'll rely on new content creators, filling in that niche when that time comes, I guess.
Alrighty. So the next question comes from Sergeant Jockitch. Conor McGregor is acting in the newest Call of Duty game. Star Citizen's got some good actors such as characters, but do you think guys wish they would have gotten someone colorful as Colin McGregor to boost their interest from those who wouldn't be in the space game, wouldn't find the space game attractive? Well, we do have the Onion Knight. I mean, people know Jon Snow, but they also know and like Liam Cunningham. There are also several members of. I just watched Boards Gamers the whole thing on this, so he actually lists a lot of. There are actually a lot of names that he drops in there, which there's a lot of people from Boardwalk Empire and Game of Thrones who end up as extras or in Star Citizen, or in Squadron 42 and Star Citizen. So I mean, we have fucking Gillian Anderson, like Scully herself is in the game, and Mark and Luke Skywalker. Like, these are people who people will watch, or the Joker if you want to be, So I think we got plenty of colorful characters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mark Strong, Craig Fairbrass, those.
Rona Mitra from The Last Ship. I mean,
we got Gemma Whalen, who's actually from Game of Thrones. She's she plays Asha Greyjoy, or what's her name? What do they call her in the
Iron
TV
Bitch
series?
or something like that?
Like something like that. Yeah. She's called Asha in the books, but because they're two characters with similar names, she's called something
Yara?
else.
Yara
Greyjoy.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I was just saying,
2 points.
Yeah.
2 points to House Kitty.
But they do get Kit Harington in Call of Duty. I kind of miffed. I was like, oh, what? Come to Star Citizen, Kit. Because that's Jon Snow. He's they have him. That's pretty cool. But
I was very pleased with their cast. Like when I was growing up playing a lot of games, and not just Wing Commander, like lots of games, Mark Hamill did a lot of voiceovers. And so for me, like a lot of my gaming history involves Mark Hamill's voice. So I was really, really happy with Mark Hamill. Plus, John Rhys Davies has the voice of Butter. It's just beautiful.
Yep.
So I was really glad about that.
John Rhys Davies is like, and that's one of the things. I mean, the one thing they did do is they didn't go for a lot of outside people. They went for a lot of science fiction like staples. Like John Rhys Davies, a lot of people may not know, he did an entire like 5 or 6 seasons of Sliders, which was like one of the sci-fi series of the 90s. You had he was also in, of course, Lord of the Rings, and he's been in like. He's even in an MTV fantasy series now. The whatever.
The Shannara Chronicles.
The Shannara Chronicles.
MTV fantasy series. Hold on, the Shannara Chronicles are some of the best-selling fantasy series of all time.
I know. But I'm just saying that the
Yeah.
video version is not exactly the TV series isn't exactly the same par as the books.
Actually, I don't know. I love the Shannara series, and I was blown away by how well they did that. I think they revealed the secret, quote, the secret a little too early, but that's a whole nother thing. The fact that it is a world that's our future world. I mean,
Oh yeah,
part
but
of the
that's
pitch.
a Dragon
It's like,
Riders
what?
of Pern twist that everyone it's a twist that's been used so many times before that it's
Yeah.
like, if you guys don't know, the Dragon Riders of Pern is a fantasy series that takes place on a planet where it's
Another
revealed
amazing fantasy series.
that it's revealed that actually the dragons just are natural to this planet and the humans are actually from Earth and it's actually the distant future and their ancestors have crash landed on the planet.
Yeah.
It's like kind of so it's with where mantis fantasy and magic and that kind of stuff, but amazing sci-fi series technically, not even a fantasy series because of what they bring into it.
But as Bear was talking about as a voiceover voice, Hamill's in so many games. So was John Rhys Davies. He was the narrator for Quest for Glory 4. The Quest for Glory series happens to be my favorite game series of all time, even more so than Wing Commander. I know I'm shocking, but he was
Burn the
heretic. Quest for Glory 4. He was obviously in the Wing Commander games. Trying to remember what other games he did, but he was in a lot as well as a voice actor, because he was also in Freelancer, of course.
Mm-hmm. Well, also you also Fastcar brought up, we also have Commissioner Gordon, or
one of the greatest actors of all time.
What was he in Fifth Element that everyone like refers to him as? I can't remember his name, but Zorg, yeah. It's like, and he was also and for Call of Duty fans, he played Sergeant what's his name from World at War and from Black Ops, the original one. I can't remember the top of his name, but I'll look it up. But he plays the sergeant in he voices and motion captured the sergeant from the Russian sergeant from Black Ops.
Reznov,
yeah, Sergeant Reznov. So
I'm going to pull up his IMDb right now because it's a list of like everything from Indiana Jones, to Lord of the Rings, to the guy's been in just about everything. Right now he's on IMDb, it's got listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 movies that he is currently filming or in post-production on right now. It's just...
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. All of them
movies.
scheduled for release in the next 2 years. He is just a workaholic, and he's been everywhere. And you name it, a style in a movie or TV or video game, and he's been there.
So, Avocado asks, planet-side maps in 2.6, speculate?
No.
For Star Marine?
No, I will not speculate.
Oh, for Star Marine.
I think that's what they're saying. Planet-side maps for Star Marine.
I don't think so.
No.
I feel like they want to get all of that in 3.0.
If they were to put out a planet-side map for Star Marine before 3.0, it would take away some of the hype and excitement when it is released.
Yeah, exactly. And they have enough places where they could grab Grimhex and make a setting out of that, or like you guys said, Port Olisar and make a setting out of that. So if they wanted more maps, there's better ways to do it.
I'm sure they have giant interiors for the Shubin mining station that they could probably turn into into their own map. They could probably take interiors of the Idris itself that they have and do that. But they want to get people hyped about that. So you could take the interior of a Starfarer and turn it into an FPS map. People have done it already, so why not? Next question comes from Human Evil 51 for Miss Hearts and Witch Kitty. How low did you have to drop your standards so that you would fit in with the rejects here at the Astro Club?
That's why I have the beard.
Thank you for sacrificing your own personal honor for showing up at the Astro Club.
And dignity, lots of dignity sacrificed. Yep.
And I did
I'm honored to be
refreshments.
She brought her own alcohol. Yeah.
She consumed a lot of alcohol, sacrificed a lot of dignity, and now she's here.
We're in test.
Yeah, that's my life.
We don't have dignity. Game Fleek asks, "Are you all excited about Josh working on the cut list next? What do you expect will change?"
I didn't know he was working on it next.
Neither did I. So
I think
they're
a lot of
remaking it,
interior
right?
stuff. Yeah, I think a lot of interior rework. That wouldn't surprise me.
Perhaps maybe some exterior stuff as well, considering the fact that they went on record as to saying that the Caterpillar is now going to be the style guide for anything Drake. Caterpillar equals Drake. So any textures and stuff that they have for the Caterpillar, maybe they might think about exporting them to the Cutlass to make it look a bit more in line with
the Cutlass doesn't look anything like the Caterpillar or the Herald now. That's a good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, I don't know if they will change anything about the handling of the ship. I actually don't think it's that bad this patch compared to where it's been in the previous patches. I think it's okay right now, but I think a lot of exterior rework and interior rework to bring it in line, like Meyer said with the Caterpillar.
Get rid of those tiny little buttons that you always push the wrong one.
Yeah,
Let's go
getting,
in the
Well, they
cockpit.
need to do that on
getting the
every
jump
way.
seat. No, I'm trying to open the door. Damn it!
Yeah.
I love how Bayor smiles when he pronounces my name correctly.
So
I have to pause and admire myself for saying that.
When I
Admire myself.
Yeah, when I think Cutlass rework, I'm more interested in what they do with the flight mechanics of it, because it's got the potential to be one hell of a maneuverable ship with those rotating nacelles and the two thrusters that are still not modeled on it on the sides of the nacelles.
I think
So that's more of what I'm interested in than
yeah, because I think it's the only ship you can do a Crazy Ivan in, potentially.
Yeah, that was the idea behind it. I remember they said that early on they wanted to be able to do that, but as of right now, that's basically not possible. But
Can you not Crazy Ivan with every single ship at the moment by decoupling? I mean, like
You
are we
can,
talking
but I
about
mean, like in atmosphere.
in atmosphere. All right, yeah,
Yeah.
like Firefly Episode 1 style.
Yeah.
Well, the Cutlass does have the Cutlass is such a weird ship, and to me, it kind of makes it fun. And it's fun ship to test on my stream because it's the only ship where you can boost and increase your top rotation speed.
yeah,
And the reason you can do that is actually because of those rear engines. They rotate and add power when you boost into your rotation. It's really, really weird. And they don't do it unless you hit boost.
Yeah.
But it does make the damn thing a little hard to fly because you're like, oh, I'm not hitting boost. Now it handles like a freelancer. Now I'm hitting boost and now it handles like an M50.
Yeah.
And it's just really confusing.
and the Cutlass has the potential to be one of the only ships that can go as fast backwards as it can forwards. Right now, we can do that due to space magic. But once they finally get the mains and the thrusters where they want, most ships are not going to be able to go as fast in reverse, or at least as quickly in reverse as they can go forward, because the mains has more power than the maneuvering thrusters. But the Cutlass with those rotating nacelles could have the potential to do that, and that would add a whole new dynamic to combat gameplay with it.
There's actually a few ships like that. The Reliant is supposed to be able to fire their thrusters forward and backward. The Xi'an Scout is supposed to be able to fire their thrusters forward and backward. There's a couple of ships that are supposed to be able to.
Well, the
to do
Xi'an
that.
Scout technically doesn't have any main engines. It was originally
yeah.
supposed to be all maneuvering thrusters that worked as maneuvering thrusters and main engines, like kind of.
And that's one of the
Half
reasons why
maneuvering, half-
handle's so wonky right now.
Yeah.
It's same with the Reliant. The Reliant's really wonky in handling sometimes.
Yeah, and as
Yeah.
soon as you lose
Sometimes.
that's it.
Outside of
The
getting
thing
in
I-
a slap box with it, flat box
Hey,
fight with
hey,
it. You
it's
know?
awesome for slap boxing. I don't, it's the only ship that can do it.
Yeah.
The thing I don't like about the Reliant and the Cartual is that there seems to be no redundancy with it. Like, if you lose one of those large pieces, then you just
Yeah.
can't fly anymore. It's
Yeah.
like you get Van Wilder syndrome. You can't turn right anymore.
Yeah.
It's sad.
All righty. Next question comes from the Stetchy. What do you think about the cargo system they want to implement right now? Cargo popping up in a ship. Do you think they will implement the system they showed off the design documents? Yeah, you have move cargo into plates on pallets. I think this question's been asked on the from what I gathered from earlier. It's been a question that's been asked a while, but I think honestly, early on they're gonna put in, so just make it so it goes into the they need it in there, and the problem is being able to adjust where it goes. So they need a system like a grid system or something like that, where you can like place your cargo, like where you can sit down. Oh, I can set it down here, and it'll be on the cargo rack. Otherwise, it'll be kind of wonky and weird, anyways. So, but the idea of like manually loading cargo into a box and taking the box and putting it in, I think most of that is still probably going to be in there, but you're not going to want to do that. Like, no one's going to sit there and be like, all right, so I got to ship 50 guns from here to, Grimhex. Am I going to 2, 3. Yeah, like my box filled. Got to get the next one. You know, like it's boring. It's work.
There's always one person that does want to do that, and kudos for them. And they'll probably put that option in there. But for most of us, I think it's going to be automatic. It's probably going to be on a timer so that it's not instant like it is right now, like they're showing in the demo. But right now, it's instant in the same way that outfitting your ship is instant, that summoning your ship is instant, because they're just getting it to work.
Yeah, and I would actually like to see that stuff go away, but not the automated system. It's not so much that I want to manually, pick up my Badger and stick it on there and take a drill and drill it onto the ship. I don't want to have to do that. But in the same sense, I don't want to go, I want a Badger and then just have it magically appear, because that's immersion breaking. And I also don't want to be like, I don't want my cargo to be here, and then it just magically appears. I'd rather have an immersive system where, like, you can imagine like a holo projection that shows where the cargo is going to go. You select it, and then you hit enter, and then maybe some people come out and load up your ship while you're waiting. It takes like 5 or 10 minutes, and they just load it up just like your holo image. Or if you put a weapon on your ship, some drones come out and take the old weapon off and then put the new weapon on. I'd like to see something like that, just because it's fun and immersive.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be like with the cargo loading. It doesn't have to be immediate. Like, it's one of those things like where, like, if you're putting it in there, like some dude hauling like some cargo in, you don't actually have to sit here and follow him, so you can go, all right, it's down there. Let's walk down. It's just having dudes walking in and out of the back of your freelancer.
Yeah, say do it and then go have a drink.
I also like dead time in a game. I like, okay, I need to load cargo. It doesn't happen instantaneously because gamers have such short attention spans. I like it to go, okay, I'm going to load up my freelancers. They're loading it. I'm going to go visit the Astropub and hang out for a little bit.
Yeah, and that's actually the thing, is that there's actually been a couple articles that I've read that talk specifically about how in game design you have to worry more about the downtime your players have than the action, because action is the dime a dozen. You want to get action, go play Call of Duty, go play Battlefield. You're going to go play War Thunder in arcade mode. You'll get action. It's instantaneously, and it'll be fun for you and for everybody else around you. But you don't have moments where, not necessarily that you like remember forever. Maybe some cool moments you talk to some of your friends about, but nothing that's like, oh, I remember that one time and this crazy thing happened. But when you have downtime, you have the ability to go explore, find something you didn't necessarily need.
Exactly.
Run into like one of your favorite content creators, or run into some random person who becomes your best friend. Throughout that was my experience playing DayZ. Is that I had a lot of friends who I play games with, who were friends I made in DayZ because we ran into each other and didn't kill each other. Like that was the. That was that downtime was that decision not to do something actually created a long time.
There's an underused thing in video games that I've always loved, which is that quiet time makes action better. Mm-hmm. It absolutely does, and it's so underused in a lot of video games where they think they have to feed players constant action or they're going to get bored. And I just don't think that's true. I think if you have a little bit of downtime and quiet time, and then you throw action at them randomly, it makes that action so much more exciting and so much more interesting.
It creates, relatively speaking, Yeah.
It's very true. It's especially in the case of DayZ, that kind of sums it up. Armor as well. That sums it up too as well. The only issue I have is that with an FPS game, and this is an FPS game, is that the current I guess like climate for FPS gamers is that they don't really have the patience for that.
It takes you 20 minutes to get back into a fight. It's like a 20-minute respawn timer, and that's kind of.
I think.
But there's other games for that if they want that.
You don't want to reward people for being impatient.
But at the same time, many people are too used to the whole instant gratification, instant action thing. I mean, for me personally, I would love it if you landed your cargo, like NPCs come in with subsistence, so blah blah blah, and then walk in, carry your stuff, and then you get despawn once they go around the corner. But there has to be a fine balance,
there definitely does have to be a fine. And there is also Arena Commander and Star Marine for the constant action.
That's what I was going to say. It's like you
can go play that while it's loading.
And I have no doubt that Star Marine and Arena Commander will still be very popular even when the universe is out.
I'll still be playing them.
People want that action. So,
and also, sorry, go ahead.
The other aspect of that is, as much as we all want to see NPCs loading the cargo on, or like Mayor said, actually, a drone coming in and attaching the weapon to the ship and removing the other weapon, the amount of effort that it's going to take to animate that for every single ship is astronomical.
Fair enough.
It's not something that they can do procedurally. I don't see that they could do it procedurally. If they did, we'd end up with these bizarre situations where the drone is like, stuck in one of the nacelles of the Connie trying to attach a new gun to it, or things like that. Or the NPCs are walking through walls because that's where the procedural thing tells them to go. So there's got to be a level of Hollywood magic that happens there, where like maybe it does take 5 minutes to load it, and during that 5 minutes you're supposed to be in the port area or whatever, waiting for it to get loaded, and so you don't see what's happening. It's done off.
That's true. I mean, it could be one of those, hey, you're going to be in the way of the equipment, so you have to move.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I think
magic.
And I think when we're dealing with like smuggling and stuff like that, you may want to load like a single crate yourself,
right?
But you're still not going to load that crate into the ship, because you're going to either have someone else do it, or you're going to have a robot do it, or something like that. And the fact of the matter is that if we're looking for realism in tech, it takes days, if not weeks, sometimes to pack a single shipping container, depending on what you have. And those are standardized units that the entire world uses. It's just one shipping container, usually the same dimensions, because they have to fit on the same ships and the same, like for cargo ships, and same trucks when it comes to like distribution and such. So if that's that standard, and it still takes people weeks and months to do so, you can imagine that the different standards of sizes that we have with Star Citizen are going to be different. They're going to take a lot of time to manually load that stuff. And you players, while patience is important, I'm not going to wait 2 days to get my freelancer loaded up. It's just sorry.
Now, I would like there to be an option for us to manually load every single piece of cargo if we wanted to, using forklifts, Argos, our own hands, hover pallets, whatever you want to call it, if we want to do it. I'd love to have that option there. And, there would be incentives for that. For example, I'm sure if you do it automatically, you're going to have to pay somebody to do it. Whereas if you do it manually, you don't pay anybody. So there's a cost benefit there. Of course,
or level of like optimization.
That too.
Like
and
maybe you stack it more efficiently if you do it yourself. For
Cargo Tetris,
And maybe you get so good at it that you can do it faster than those automated systems can. So that's another aspect of it. Like if you're a cargo hauler, you're trying to make the run as fast as possible, as cheap as possible, so you can make most profit. Maybe some of the best ones out there can do that. They can manually load things fast and get out there before the load masters can do it.
But I think there needs to be some sort of timer at the very least, just to make it gameplay balanced. So even if you're auto loading, there has to be some sort of timer that ticks down in terms of like how long it'll take for that cargo to be loaded. Instead of just be like, I bought a shipment of slaves. Let's go put the slaves in the in the thing. And like I want to put my pallet of bread next to the pallet of slaves, and it instantly pops in, and you walk in your ship and fly off. Like that's what you do in like Elite Dangerous, and that's many people are like that's immersion breaking. But then again, you never see them. It's just cargo. They're all the same cargo unit that you never see, or no matter what, they're just with different names on them.
Could you imagine? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Could you imagine if you could get like cargo dilemmas like that, where the captain has decided to put the shipment of slaves next to the shipment of bread? Like 5 minutes later, Captain, the slaves have eaten all the bread.
I would love to see that.
Consequences if you do it wrong.
Oh yeah.
But
Sorry.
yeah, it's
Bread
Stupid slaves.
The whole thing about cargo, there's like Uber nerds saying that's hyperbole. My friends and I did a test. We could load a freelancer in 3 minutes. Yes, if you had all the crates lined up, ready to go, the cargo already in the crates, I'm sure if you had the appropriate equipment, you could do it in 3 minutes.
I mean, you can load stuff pretty fast. I mean, I used to work at FedEx. We loaded 3 planes in an hour with full cargo. So like you can load stuff pretty quick in real life. So
yeah, but it was pre-packed, right?
But it's pre-packed.
No, like the packages, like picture the little boxes of iPods being put into containers and then loaded on an airplane. We could load 3 airplanes in an hour with that way.
That's awesome. Okay, do you think that certain more, I guess, not serious, but I guess more reasonable cargo scenarios would happen? Like, for instance, let's say you have a freelancer, you can fill your freelancer like how many deep on either side, and in the front as well. But like, let's say that you have like a cargo route, separate different places that you have to go to, like different planets, and you're doing them all the same time. You have cargo for all those different destinations in the.
Oh,
in
so
your
you have
ship
to
at
put them
one
in the
time.
right order.
Yeah, can you can you imagine like you haven't put them in the right order, so when you land, then they're like, Captain, like the shipment is behind, like these other crates.
This idea
You have
excites
to like
me.
unload it and then like
Yeah.
take it out
Honestly,
and put it
if
back.
you're
I
a
love to see
dedicated cargo hauler, that should be a
Right.
problem you have to deal with. Like
Yeah.
that should be
Yeah,
a problem you
that
have to
excites
master
me.
and solve,
That's
so that somebody who's
realistic.
good at it could be like, I can get this done really fast
I was
because
gonna
I know
say,
how to load
Mhm.
my ship.
Yeah.
That's exactly how. That's
would make
exactly
me
what
interested in
Baylor
hauling
did. Probably when you were loading those planes and whatnot for UPS, that was
Mm.
part of it. Was if it was making multiple stops, you loaded the last stop first, and then worked your way back so that the first stop was there.
Yeah, and that's fun because it's a skill mechanic. You want
Yep.
cargo hauling to be a skillful thing.
It's a puzzle.
Mhm.
So like it
And I
should
love
be like,
puzzles.
I know how to load my freelancer, or I can get this done in this amount of time, get paid faster, get people's deliveries to them faster, get a better reputation, and
Yep.
etc. Like, so there is a skill mechanic, just like dogfighting. There's a skill mechanic for it.
And that's why I say I absolutely want the option to be able to do it by hand, but I think the vast majority of people are going to be doing it automated, and they're going to pay a premium for that just because it's easier for them overall. It takes it
Well, I think there
time-wise
should be levels of that. So if you go land at
Yeah.
ArcCorp, you can pay premium and get whole full automated landing. But if you go land at Bob's Moon, that has like one landing pad, I think you're probably going to be shell of luck. You're going to have to load your freelancer by hand. That just makes sense. That makes the world feel deeper.
Yeah, it's like
Welcome
landing.
to Bob's Moon.
It's like landing at
I'm Bob. This
Last-
is my moon.
Rickety sign.
We're talking about.
Okay, now I have design ideas.
Damn it! Yeah, it's Bob's Moon.
Bob's Moon.
That's the kind of
Part
place
of
that.
Bob's Moon Corp.
That's the kind of place you like a place like the Astro Pub, something called the Astro Pub would actually be at. Like our one bar in town, the Astro Pub.
Oh yeah.
On an asteroid.
Park your
just floating
space
in one
flyer
place.
here.
Yeah.
But just what that reminds me of? What I think it was Fallout 3, the Republic of Dave.
Yeah.
And it was just that one. The Republic of
Oh,
Dave
yeah,
is just a
yeah.
house. And that was it, like 5 people. That's Bob's Moon right there. Bob's Moon. It's just a bar and like a hab module and Bob. Like, welcome to Bob's
So
Moon.
it's every small town in Indiana.
Yes.
But with
Or
cargo
Alberta.
and stuff like that, I think personally, I would like it if there were 3 different modes at least for the whole cargo loading thing. So the first one would be for people who instant gratification, like I have this mission to do it fast, do it automated, as soon as possible. The second one would be like you go to a terminal and then like you then arrange it holographically so you can do your cargo planning that way.
Tetris.
And then the third way would be you've done it holographically. Now you want to like just move things when you're flying, like fine tune as it were, or like, oh, there's a small cargo box that's here, but I don't trust my crew. I'm gonna carry this small cargo box to my bedroom. That's the I would like.
What do you got in that box?
I don't want to know.
Mirror.
Man, them pleasure bots. So don't build themselves. Bear. That's for sure.
Hey, there's a reason why people stop by Bob's Moon.
Oh God! Now you're making me remember all the times the small towns that had a bar, a porn shop, and a general store
Uh-huh.
and a gas
Everything you
station. That's all
I
you
live
had.
in one of the. I live in one of those towns.
God damn.
That's like
Yep.
our entire economy is based around our bars and our 2 porn stops, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's it.
But the main thing is that it has to be balanced. It has to be to a degree where someone's going to have, because again, that downtime is key for all, like especially for MMOs. The ability to talk with your guild or your group, your org, your corporation, whatever. The ability to just show up. Like bars are terrible ideas unless you have a reason to go there. And
Exactly.
Downtime is reason to go to a bar.
Mhm.
And you never
Well,
know.
not only that, but I'm really enjoying doing stuff in the verse now of just flying around just to look
Yeah,
at things.
just derping around.
It's pretty.
Yeah. I love downtime in games. I love it.
I'm happy with downtime as long as like the game also respects your time.
Yes.
Like certain, some people only can play.
Yeah,
like
not
once a
downtime
week.
just for the hell of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Not forced downtime. I guess.
And that's the balancing act they need to make. You know, it's just like when they talked about the compressing the systems down. They compressed the systems down not because the engine can't handle it, but because they realized that taking a week to cross a star system was a bit too much. You know, so it's compressed down to where it takes 45 minutes maximum to cross a star system.
And that's still a long ass time. I mean, your average.
I love it.
I know, but I mean, like your average. Oh God, like your average Battlefield game in Battlefield Bad Company was like 30 minutes, and now it's like 10, 15, and it feels like on fast forward compared to what it was back in the day, and like 45 minutes to cross the system and almost an hour to do so.
I keep going back to this as an example every time things like this are brought up. But again, the game World War II Online, they did not have anything for the longest time to make instant action possible. And resupply was done manually. So when we would run out of tanks in a frontline town, we would go to the next town back and drive the tanks to the next town. And these are early World War II tanks. It would take an hour to drive from one town to another. And there'd be a convoy of dozens of us. And that's all we do is we'd just be driving these tanks for an hour. There'd be no action. It's just us talking on TeamSpeak, driving these tanks down the road. And the whole best thing we could hope for is somebody would flip his tank accidentally to give us something to do, and we could try to flip him back over by ramming him. That was our fun. But it actually bred its own type of gameplay of social gameplay where we sit there and we talk, we joke around. Drunk racing in tanks was always a fun thing to do because you'd end up getting drunk doing that because that's all you just sit there at home drinking and waiting for this hour to pass.
Yeah, I remember when I played the old World War II flight sims like Air Warrior from back in like the late 90s, and you used to have to like take off from a base and fly like easily a half hour, 45 minutes to get to a combat zone. So you'd be flying in formation with your buddies. And it was obviously downtime and it was boring, but the advantage of it is when you got there, you tensed up because you're like, now I'm here and I made this long journey. So you start to sweat, your hands would kind of shake a little bit. Yeah, you're like, I'm now in this situation. And it added so much more fun and realism to the combat where like it wasn't so instantaneous. You weren't numb to the action all the time.
There's a lot of effort expended.
Yeah.
So it's worth something.
Yeah, and that's the key is you have to make it worthwhile. And what the 45 minutes that Eric is quoting is actually from Chris Roberts. He said, if you did nothing but fly from the edge of the Stanton system to the other edge of the Stanton system, it would take about 45 minutes.
20 minutes was Stanton system. They said they wanted to keep it around no more than 40 to 45 minutes to cross a system. 20 minutes is the Stanton system speed.
Oh, okay.
Is that with stoppages for fuel?
No, I think that's just straight across. Like if you were at 0.2 light speed, meaning you're in the fastest a quantum drive ship can do. And that's the other thing we've recently learned is now they have it set up so that some ships will not go fully 0.2 light speed in quantum. It's going to be depending on the ship, the engines, etc., as to what your speed is. So the fastest ship from one end to the other, they were looking at about 45 minutes or so tops to cross the system. And that's basically a straight line from what I gathered.
But I mean, that's not taking into account like your fuel capacity.
That's what I was laughing at.
Shit. We're giving you free advertising, Bob. That's all. We're giving you free advertising. Come to Bob's
We expect
Moon.
a discount.
Yes.
Get off my property.
Get your gas filled up. Get your titties all nice and wrapped, and get drunk. Bob's Moon.
But yeah,
Off the corner of Bob's Moon, Bob's Planet, and Bob's Nebula.
But yeah, bear in mind, if that 45-minute time frame is for a 0.2C ship, and there are ships out there that are going to do half that speed maximum in quantum drive, right there you've got the possibility of it taking an hour and a half or 2 hours to cross the system if you're just doing a straight line shot with no refueling stops and whatnot. So that's the thing is this is a big variation they can do without having to make it unnecessarily long term. That becomes part of your decision as a pilot and the ship you fly and the mission you take is, my ship, my freelancer can only do 0.1C or whatever the maximum speed it is. Do I really want to do a straight line shot across the Stanton system? It's going to take me an hour and a half, or would I rather use the jump points or use a different ship or who knows what?
The other nice thing is, from an exploration standpoint, it means there's a lot of space to put stuff, to hide stuff, to have procedurally generated asteroids and wrecks and everything else. There's so much space now. And there's so many people like to talk about, what if we explore everything? Well, if it takes 40 minutes to cross the system at 0.2 the speed of light, there's now a lot of space to put things, a lot of space to hide things, and that's going to make it so it's really hard to explore everything.
All those
That's one
procedurally
thing
generated encounters and stuff.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And that's also what the how the exploration mechanics is going to work. Is like you're going to be hired by a surveyor, be like, hey, this section of space has never been surveyed because we just don't give a fuck because we've just been flying around it. Could you survey it and see what's going on, kind of thing? Go ahead, Ms. Hart. Sorry.
Yeah, that's one thing that worries me about exploration is that there's just going to be a limited number of things, and someone will find something and everyone will flock there. So having more space, more random
I'm guessing
encounters.
that for one thing that they will do is, as you're flying, there's going to be like a random chance for every, I don't know, minute or whatever you're in quantum drive or cruise that you pick up a derelict or a distress beacon or whatever, and whatever that random chance is. And so there's that, things like that. The more generic encounters, derelict ships, distress beacons, pirates, those kind of things. And then there's also going to be the more big encounters that they've already talked about, including things like new jump holes that may go to the same location but a better time, and the program derelicts that they've been talking about. So it's going to be a lot of stuff that they can toss in there.
By the way, CIG, if any CIG employees are watching, if you don't have a random small hab in the middle of one of the moons around in the Stanton system that's just called Bob's, then I'm disappointed. It needs to have on the moon just a hab that says Bob's. That's it, and I would be happy.
But if you do happen to do that, you're going to have to talk with Bayor's legal folks about the naming rights and all that.
I'm already working on a T-shirt.
Posters.
With exploration,
I actually, Ms. Hartz, I really do.
Brochures.
I want a Bob's Moon T-shirt.
I do want a Bob's Moon T-shirt.
Oh no, I am literally already thinking of it. Watch my stream Monday night. I am making the Bob Moon.
And it's just like a shack with a handwritten sign or something that says Bob's Moon.
Oh, I have
Another
ideas.
shack.
This is happening.
Go ahead, Meyer. Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, with the exploration thing, I was gonna say that even if it's just a dev tool, I would love to have a glimpse of once the PU is out and stuff like that, people are exploring. I'd love to have at least a sneak peek at there's this really ugly 3D map with it basically where people go is lit up, so you'll see these really ugly cheese wedges of where people have explored, just so you can see just how much of the universe people haven't seen. I mean,
Freelancer had that where it would show if you go through the star map. Freelancer would show you where most of the paths were of the pirates, the regular folks, and the players and whatnot. That was and it was interesting when you look at it, especially on a multiplayer server, because you could see that 99% of everybody flew the same paths. There was always that one guy that went out and at a weird angle.
right.
But
Exactly.
I was going to say that sweet, delicious data is what would be nice to see.
Exactly.
Yep.
Data.
I love my data. I love my data.
like a 3D version of the death maps and the travel maps on DayZ, for instance, or like a heat map of just where people are going and what they've seen. I'd love to see that.
That'd be cool.
It'd be great, except for we keep seeing where Tokyo and Gamble went, because it'd be the one that's like off and it kind of goes in these random directions. You're like, where am I? I have no idea where I'm going. What is this?
And then it just stops where he crashed into something.
Yeah.
The line just stops.
Alrighty. So the next question comes from Fastcart. Forgive me if you discussed this. I had to step away. But what are your thoughts on belonging to big orgs versus medium orgs or smaller orgs?
Big orgs suck, dude.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Don't join
I think we're biased.
I'm not biased. I actually don't.
You do
Miss
realize
Hartz will tell you it did take me a while to want to join test, because I'm I call the big orgs. Actually, this is my friend's
Borg orgs.
Mm-hmm.
nickname for them, the Borg orgs.
the Borg orgs, yeah.
It took me about 4 months.
About 4 months, because
Yeah.
man, I'm a small org kind of person. I like tight knit groups. I don't like these massive disorganized groups, But
I got you all beat. It took me over a year with Test pounding on my door saying join Test.
It was at least a year for me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm the same way as Bayor. I've seen so many large orgs and guilds collapse from the inside that I had no desire to be part of one. What changed my mind was the general attitude of all the testies I interacted with. It's such a friendly attitude with everybody. That's what brought me in, was the friendships, not the org itself, but the friendships that came along with being part of the org.
Yeah, it's like the specific people that are in the org. Yeah.
Well, and not only that, but I think Test has probably gotten to the point where it's so big you can be little.
Yeah.
That people can get lost in it, and that you're not roped into doing what someone else is expecting of you, especially Test, which we're all kind of drunks and screw ups.
I was going to say we've advertised the fact that we have no fucking idea what we're doing. We're just here to have fun. And I think that's the at the end of the day, that's the big thing with Test, is that it's about. The reason why a lot of people find it attractive is that we don't care. It's a game.
There's no responsibility.
We're a game. You know, we're not like Bayer doesn't have the rank of like Fleet Admiral, you know.
What?
Yeah. And McKenna is
wait. How do you think I got him in Test?
Shut up. He thinks he does.
I'm sorry. Bayer,
Years.
more than likely, if we're gonna have titles, Bayer would have the title of Rear Butt Admiral, and McKetton would be the ball that would be Sergeant Baldy or something like that. Like that's the kind of organization we have. We're like, we'll give you titles. We don't fucking care about the titles. Like the organization comes from individuals wanting to work with other people, and if they want to show up. And so it's much more of a game aspect and less of we're a serious org, guys. We're serious.
I mean, I'm a staff member in Test, but I don't really know what I do.
And then I think that's the difference between, say, big, medium, and small, is that big orgs are either completely like disorganized or they're super strict. And you have medium orgs, which you can have kind of a little bit of the both, and smaller orgs. We're talking 10, 15 people. It is a lot more like a group of friends who hang out and do stuff. And each of those organizations have their own place. Like a small org could probably slip past a blockade of a larger org pretty easily because it's 15 people. And they're much more organized. They know how everyone works. And a medium orgs are probably going to be the main orgs you'll see, the 15 to like 60, 30 to 60 people, because they're the easiest ones to form and actually care. Whereas the large orgs... the large orgs are much more likely to fail, because they're too big and people get butt hurt and drama and stuff like that. So,
I really like the idea of people making these tiny orgs just for their one ship.
Yeah.
I think it's really cute.
No, I do. I like the idea. Like there's entire like pirate ships which have like 7 people in it, and it's like, I like it. I'm like, yes,
an awesome idea. I love it too.
Yeah.
Like a group, that's how it should be. You know, that's your Firefly group.
Yeah, that's your Starwind and Hawkins, org or whatever. I like the poster.
Yeah.
But
no propaganda at all.
But no propaganda here. Nope.
I also don't think that at the end of the day we're going to have many people who are like larger organizations will still be able to hold the most stuff. They'll be able to hold the most space and do the most things. However, you are much more likely to be a small person in a large org than you are going to be a small person in a small org. Everyone's important in a smaller organization. So.
Yeah, I mean, there are pros and there are cons to being in a large org. In a large org, of course, the pros are that, if you have that tag, you're less likely to be killed by somebody with that tag. Yeah, we have over 10,000 people, so not everybody, there's still a bell curve. You might have the nasties who are like, I don't care, I'm going to kill everybody because my name is
Paul Shelley. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
But then at the same time, stalk Tokyo for a while,
I'm public enemy because I killed Gamble.
I mean, like in alpha, that's fine, but like in the PU, you might think twice about it, right?
Yeah.
But on the other side of the token, there are smaller organizations who are like, test a kill on site. And you can talk to them. Yeah, I'm in this team, and just so you know, test a kill on site. So you have those people, and so
what's funny about that?
What?
We have orgs that are getting their people to join our org to be spies, right? First of all, we don't have secrets. That's the funny. There's no secret. Like,
Organization.
Steal.
Don't we have? Second of all, our plans generally are against each other.
Exactly.
Like we'll make a plan. Like there's a plan. There's what is it? Yaspoon. There's Operation Yaspoon, which is against Operation Pitchfork, and I'm starting Operation Knifey Spoony, which is for Pitchfork. So we end up going to shoot each other because we don't give a fuck. Like that's the end of the day.
And the other thing about it that's really funny though is these spies, they show up and they end up joining us after hanging out with us. They come out and they tell us, they're like, yeah, so and so sent me here to spy on you, but I left their org and I just kind of want to be part of you now. And we don't do anything, we just exist. That's it.
Yeah.
It's just the attitude, I guess.
There's no obligation.
No,
You don't even have to have an Aurora.
That's a lie. No, that is an accidental omission. We are going to fix that.
Oh, okay.
We did do the calculation to blot out the sun from Earth. It requires 50,000 auroras. So right now we need every tester
Sir,
to have at least
We're a
5.
fifth of the way there.
yeah.
Yes.
But every
But-
single test member has to have at least one to be a fifth of the way there.
Yeah, and we don't right now. So we got to change
Well,
that
there's-
rule to
there's
every
people
tester.
that
needs
have
to have
all
5
we
auroras.
know Bayer has 30, but that's just because Bayer likes auroras. You know, that's just how that works. So
I'm retired.
yeah.
Recovering Aurora pilot.
Unfortunately,
I'm on the
right
10th
now,
step of the 12-step program, so let's not talk about it.
But honestly, though, I think large, medium, and small orgs have their own places, and it really has to do with the culture of what you're being around. And I think to a degree, they all will be fun, but you'll have to understand that like a small org will never take a Bengal. A small org will never control a space station. They may control. The medium orgs might be able to control those things, but they wouldn't be able to do it for very long, especially if a large org got wind of what was going on. But it depends on what style you have, what kind you're playing. And that's the thing, we're PC gamers. At the end of the day, what the fuck? Like, this is the game that implements, like, that epitomizes PC gaming. Do what you want.
Right.
There is,
Do
like...
what you want because you want when you wanna.
Yeah, well, there's literally nothing... There's nothing, like, stopping you from saying you want to be a space bartender in the universe. Go for it. Why not? Because if the mechanics allow you for doing it, do not go nuts. If you want to... You know, even though it's never in the game, I'm totally going to just force it into the game just by me existing. And that's kind of how PC games are, and that's how they've always been, is that kind of this platform where people can kind of build off of it, and that's how you even get separate games. Like, there are games that have been spun off entirely from just game modes in like an FPS game in a Team Fortress, you know, has its own game,
Right.
because it used to be in Unreal.
And going back to what we were talking about before with downtime in games, that's how that kind of meta gaming ends up happening.
Yep.
Is creating new things to do in that downtime.
So the
Yeah.
organizations you're part of it just depends on whatever the fuck you feel like doing. You know, don't think about it big, medium, or small. Just think about what do you want to do.
Yeah, I've said this before. I fully plan on having one of my heirs. For those of you that don't know, the way the permadeath system works is once your character reaches permadeath, your heir inherits your stuff minus an inheritance fee, and then you start playing that character instead. But I fully expect one of my heirs to be an intergalactic hitchhiker. He or she is going to throw off turn his back on the family business or whatever, and just decide that they're going to go explore the universe and discover themselves by hitchhiking across all of UEE space or something. And that's the goal. The goal will be to hit every major port of call
Staying
without
space
ever
hostiles.
flying my own ship and spending the least amount of money as possible. So, you know, I'd work my way around and sneak onto ships, hitchhike, whatever it takes.
I think that's an interesting gameplay kind of rule to set for yourself. With a game like Star Citizen, where you do have permadeath with inheritance fees, I think that might better suit like one of your first lives.
Yeah.
Simply because everybody else is going to be more serious, and if you do die, then you have nothing to lose. You know.
Yeah.
But it really doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, he's not going to like give away all the money. He just never use it.
Yeah, I'm just going to lock it
Fair
up and not
enough.
use it. That's the idea. Yeah, is that the heir has decided that he's going to reject his inheritance and leave it there and head off and discover himself. That kind, the classic college student rebellion of I'm going to hitchhike across Europe instead of doing my second semester or whatever it is.
Dissertation.
Yeah. And then they come back and they're bitter, detached. They did way too many drugs in Amsterdam, and they realize they still have to finish that degree. Or am I just talking about myself here?
Oh, God. All right, so the next question is from Fastcart. He asks, when I typically play a single-player campaign, I try to get the best possible outcome. All wingmen live, for instance. Are any of you like that, and do you think Squadron 42 will allow me to replay missions to get better outcomes? I think...
Maybe, probably.
Wing Commander had that, where you could save before a mission and then redo the mission if you wanted to.
Restart last checkpoint. I don't think it's going to be like, it's... I don't
it's single
see why.
player. Yeah.
I'm more of a completionist, where it's not so much about every path of the storyline, but more about completing every single objective, including the side objectives, and stopping at every single little side thing. But I'll probably just play through once initially and just kind of keep that as its own linear storyline for a while in my mind before I go back and do something else.
Oh yeah, and that's for instance how I played my Mass Effect series that I recently played through. I just said, fuck it, I'm just going to start and play, and if I run into the missions or if I think the mission's interesting, I'll do it. I'm not going to try to meta it at all. I'm not going to look up what the best missions are, what all the missions are. I'm just going to play. Yeah. And I ended up, like in Mass Effect, or in Mass Effect 2, I ended up killing the entire crew, but keeping like the actual, like, your companions alive, but all of the crew died. Because they didn't send back someone to help them out. And so I had, like, Dr. Chuck I had like a memorial for all the crew members that had died on the suicide mission, that kind of stuff. And it meant a lot to me.
Did you take a shot for each crew member?
No, God, no. God, no. but like that was one of those things that the fact that I'm saying that is like one of those big moments. Is like I made that decision and that happened, and I have to live with that
Mass
kind of
Effect
thing.
too.
And that's
I didn't look up any guides or anything when I played Mass Effect. I just went through. I wanted to experience it. And by the time I got to Mass Effect 3 with my save character, and at the end when it's got the wall of all the dead, it was like everybody was there because I didn't save anybody on the suicide mission. It was horrible, but that's how I did it.
But that gives you a good story.
Yeah.
I actually find it kind of weird when it's weird mentality when people read guides before playing a single player. It seems like that's kind of ruins the point, especially
spoilers.
If it's like Mass Effect, where it has this amazing story. Like, why would you read a guide about it? You're taking out part of the game.
You want to experience it like firsthand. You don't want to find out beforehand.
But then there's people like Fastcard who want to get the best ending, and it's really hard to figure that out unless you save it at the right points and all that kind of stuff. And the way that they've talked about Squadron 42 is it's like you start the game and you go until you stop. There's no loading screens, or there's very few loading screens, and you're just constantly moving. There is no place, would you like to save the game here? Like, you're going to have to go out of your way to save the game. Or actually,
I think I must just get really lucky, but if you go through every detail of a single player campaign, you stop at everything and you try really hard not to kill your people, you probably will get the best ending. As I didn't read any guides, and I got the best ending for everything in Mass Effect because I just tried not to kill my people, and I got as much information as possible about the game when I was playing it because I explored everything.
My problem was I didn't realize the loyalty missions were that important. Like, the way Mass Effect 2 works is if you don't do the certain loyalty missions in a certain order in a certain time frame, you can't do some of them, and then and then the suicide mission does kill people. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And that's what happens. I only had like 2 loyal crew members or something when it got to the point where you're forced to do the suicide mission, and it wasn't enough to save anybody.
I'm just a vain
Garrus that came out alive.
I'm a vain idiot, and so I did the loyalty missions just because I wanted to get extra skins. Yeah.
That's a pretty outfit.
It looks pretty cool in that. That looks pretty badass. Yeah, let's do that one. Yeah, but I'm the same guy who's like gonna go around the universe in Star Citizen to find this outfit with a helmet and just wear a helmet when I'm, walking around. Not even with an EVA, so just a helmet on, walking around like, "Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Astropub," kind of thing,
Well, I get so into single player games that if I kill one of my crew members, like, it's likely I'm going to take a break for an hour and sit here drinking scotch.
Mass Effect
more in their loss.
I'm going to give a depressive circle.
Or I'm going to pour out a little liquor. I'm going to do it proper.
Yeah, I went into Mass Effect 3 again completely blind, and there were several sections of that game where I literally stopped the game, got up, and I remember at one point I actually went out to a bar and basically got drunk because of the emotional attachment you had to those characters and the way that story played out. And yeah, that was I've said this before, and I will keep saying about the Mass Effect series. As much as it had issues at the end of Mass Effect 3, that game series will be looked back in history as one of the first of a new type of entertainment that I think, and it's very similar to what Chris is trying to do with Squadron 42. This interactive, not a game, not a movie, not a book, but like all of these combined, this interactive, emotionally charged
universe,
narrative,
universe you live in. And
I would definitely tell people because Squadron 42 is coming out soon. There's a lot of temptation for people to just go mission to mission to mission to mission. And I would really encourage you between missions to walk around the ship you're on, walk around the Idris, and get to know the people, because it's going to make the mission so much more interesting, so much better, so much more lively, and you're going to be so much more emotionally invested in it.
I also know the crew. The way that Chris Roberts does games, I wouldn't doubt that there's going to be a mission, say, that you're going to have to find some random jagoff engineer who works in engineering who you wouldn't have known unless you walked down and talked to them. Yeah. Who's going to be the critical point in saving the Stanton or blowing up in your face. And so if you get to know everyone in the crew quickly early on, you'll have a better chance of saving yourself, let alone everybody else in the game, because you'll be able to I know that guy, that one, like the Apollo missions where that one dude who knew exactly what to happen, what you're supposed to do if lightning strikes the rocket. There's just one dude who happened to know it off the top of his head, and it was like, do this, and really, this obscure what would happen if this happened in this chain of events, you know exactly what to do. Yeah, well, all right, cool. You saved Apollo 9, I think that's what it was when they got hit, or Apollo 13 or 12, Apollo 12. So.
I'd love to see a stowaway in your ship. You could either do all the missions and stuff like that, or you could walk around, as Bayo says, talk to all the characters, but just make sure you explore every single nook and cranny of your ship. The same way.
Definitely.
See, that's what I always do in every game. I talk to every single character, and I always find the edges. I always find the edges of the map.
Yeah.
Because I want to see, what happens when I walk this way.
Yeah. Plus spaceship porn.
Meyer, the stowaway would be a great cameo role for Ben. I can see you find Ben hiding in a cargo hold somewhere on the Idris. He's like, I just really wanted to be here.
It turns out he knows more about your ship than you do.
Yeah, exactly. I just love these ships. That's why I'm here.
I was thinking it was a great cameo moments for us for the Star Citizen streamers. So you just pop into an Idris, and there's McKetton and Gamble and Twerk and all sitting in shh, we're not supposed to be here. Go back to your business.
Or just
don't worry.
A cameo role for us where we're basically crazy. We're talking to the mirror as if we're broadcasting.
Bristol Boy 88's here. He was here that last night. The last captain's table. It's his birthday today.
It's his birthday, isn't it?
Yeah. So happy birthday!
Yes, happy birthday, Bristol Boy.
It's now 1 a.m., so it's technically not his birthday.
Oh, happy birthday!
Never mind.
Yeah,
it's your birthday until you go to sleep.
Alrighty, so go ahead.
Oh yeah. With how vast the universe is, the persistent universe is going to be, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, otherwise, I fear they're gonna go the way of Age of Conan, where the first 20 levels were amazing, fully voiced over, all that kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden the quest givers were mutes. To try and kind of avoid that as much as possible, they might try and look for cheap voice work. I guess it'd be pretty awesome if they looked to people content creators and stuff to do the voices and stuff.
That'd be awesome.
Volunteer.
I'm very cheap.
You can pay for him in beer or in chips.
Oh, yeah.
I'd do it just for the sake of it.
And I honestly think the reaction we got from I forgot the guy's name, but Freddie Prinze Jr. and the guy who played Darth Maul in the Star Wars Rebels series. Like the fact that they're just like, I want to get involved in this. Like,
what do I got to do?
Yeah.
Whose ass do I got to kiss to get this job? Yeah.
Exactly.
So if I can do some blatant advertising, I'm actually doing some voices in some SC lore recordings.
SC Lorecast.
Oh,
Yep.
Nice.
excellent.
Is that what's her name?
No, it's Captain Byrne.
Oh, okay. Isn't Elysiana doing something like that too?
Yeah.
I thought she was,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, she did one. I've got one coming up. There's a couple ongoing. Yep, there's a couple ongoing storylines.
Sweet.
I'm actually looking forward to seeing what's his name, the hotshot pilot from Cassandra's Tears, who they he has such a Biff Adventureman type of name, you know, like Biff Large Huge, the space adventurer, you know.
Beef steel pecs, yeah.
But he's actually going to be in Squadron 42. Like, there's a character in Cassandra's Tears who's actually going to be in Squadron 42 as a pilot. Who I'm thinking is going to be like a non-Squadron 42 pilot. Like, he's going to be like a smuggler or a pirate or something like that. Who you have to hire.
Well, if I remember correctly, it's not the Stanton. What's the system that it takes place in?
The Hades system.
It's wherever that
Schumann Mining Center.
Schumann Mining Center is, yeah, and that's a civilian like mining system. So I'm sure he could be a smuggler or one of the miners on the station or whatnot. That's where, from what I gather, that's where most of the game takes place, is right in that area. At least the first chapter, the first episode, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, he could be any of those, and probably like a Han Solo type character, basically. The lovable rogue.
The next question comes from Daryl Al. What do you think about the fact that if you EVA out of a moving ship, you stop at once?
I hope that gets fixed. That's what I think about that.
I hope a lot of stuff falling off a ship that just has infinite mass and just stops instantaneously gets fixed. Because I'm tired of running into pieces of ships that I shoot out. It's so frustrating.
Conservation of momentum.
With quantum travel,
I still think that if you fall off out of quantum travel, it either should be instant death or it should be if you survive, it should slow you down slowly over time. So you're just sitting there going. And then but I think one of the big things they need is those service beacons, because once you have those service beacons activated on your EVA suit, it can be like, I fell off my ship at quantum travel. I curbled out of a ship, essentially.
That'd be great for the audio of that. You hear somebody flying past you screaming.
It's like that.
Blue shifting. You see this. Phew,
Yeah, what
then,
the hell was that?
it's just phew, and then a couple seconds later, as the sound catches up to you.
What the hell was that? That was Tokyo again.
Next question.
with quantum travel, though. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It's kind of irrelevant, but I was going to say, with quantum travel right now, if you try and go somewhere and then you want to stop, you don't stop immediately. There's a deceleration speed, right? Distance. Right. But when you go and point somewhere really close, then you kind of stop there instantly. I was wondering if you guys thought maybe they would fix it so that either there wasn't a deceleration distance, or there was a maximum minimum distance you had to travel.
That it automatically does it.
Yeah.
Have you experimented with quantum travel when you're in cruise speed versus SCM speed? If you notice when you do it in cruise speed, you come out much further away from the target than when you're in space combat mode speed.
Right.
And my opinion is, I agree with you. I think that should be where you come out of, because you can come out as up to 20 kilometers away from the target when you're in cruise speed. But I agree with you that you should instead of just stopping coming out at maximum speed, you should start to decelerate, at that distance away, so that by the time you get there, you're back down to normal cruise speed or space combat mode speed. I don't think it should just pop out, because although to be on the other aspect of that, quantum drive is basically one step away from jump drive. Jump drive is a broken quantum drive, so maybe it's because of the magic space science method that it gets you up to that speed that causes you to just drop out like that.
I actually like a quick dropout, just because the way that those kinds of systems work, they're sort of bypassing the laws of physics, if you will. then slowing down is something you're doing within the laws of physics. So I don't mind it that it just pops you out.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd like to see is, I've talked about this, I think, with Miss Arts before. I'd like to see easier ways to quantum travel as a group.
Yeah.
And not run into each
Well,
other. Like do formation quantum traveling, which I think you could do in Freelancer. Stuff like that would be kind of
If you did something,
computers or something.
if you made quantum travel, because I think they haven't really described what it is. It's just like you can go with 0.2c. If you physicsed it like it's a warp drive where it can bend the fabric of space time only so far and only for so well and only this amount. You could create like a bubble around your ship, which could be then other ships could be created at the same time, and then you would come in and out, and because you'd just be going at normal speeds, even at cruise speed, you'd be going at cruise speed. And even though it looks like you're going super fast, in reality you're just going at a cruise speed and space. The reason why it looks so weird is because space is actually bending and then unbending while it's happening. Something like that could make it be instantaneous, which makes sense as why it'd be instantaneous.
And that kind of has to be how it works. I mean, when you fire up your quantum drive, you do instantaneously go. Like there's a little bit of an acceleration period, but then you instantaneously go. And of course, if you actually did that without bending the laws of physics, you would splatter. Like you would completely destroy yourself. Like you're that's too much G-force for you. So there has to be bypassing the laws of physics somehow.
You're not.
Plus, I really like the current animation of flying, moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The shit your pants moment the first time you quantum travel towards something, like I'm getting closer, I'm getting closer, I gotta stop, why aren't you stopping? Holy crap, I almost smashed into this moon.
I still love it.
Yeah. First time I saw that in CitizenCon, I flinched. Like I was underneath the Concorde, and I was like,
I mean, when I saw that at CitizenCon last year, I was like, oh my god, he's gonna hit. Oh my god, he didn't hit, because CIG has this terrible tendency of screwing up during their live stream. So I was fully expecting him to slam right into it.
I'm looking up everything I can find about how the quantum drive works, and all it says is that it was invented in 2075 and initially did 1/100th the speed of light, and it can get up to 1/5 the speed of light.
We did a science stream about the quantum drive, and they haven't really explained it very well in the lore at all. But I did see there's a post on the forums.
That's all I know.
Yeah, there's a post on the forums where someone tried to explain it using a quantum foam mechanic, and it sounded really similar to how the quantum drive worked, and that was a really good post.
And how does a quantum foam mechanic work?
It's the same. It's you have two particles. How the quantum stupid thing is, you have two particles which are the same particle at two different points of space, as far as I understand. And it's the same with Mass Effect 2. Remember, you had the quantum entanglement thing where you had ED was connected to the elusive man, and you could contact him at instantaneous from any point, but it's only those two. You can only contact those two. That's the same kind of concept. It's like from one point, there are 2 points that exist at the exact same space in two different spaces, and all you're doing is merging the two. You're closing the box, the cat, whatever it is, where you have the cat poison. You open it and it closes the
Schrodinger's box.
Yeah, Schrodinger's cat. It's that kind of concept where once you observe it, suddenly you become the 2 points are one rather than two. So something like that. I'm not that much of a scientist.
I'm not laughing at I'm laughing at Meyer and Schrodinger's box. That's an entire
Schrodinger's box.
What's in the box?
If that's the video you rented when you were in college, that might explain your low physics score.
Oh, no.
I wasn't gonna go there.
Got that at Bob's Moon.
that sounds like another thing that needs to be added into you guys' show for some reason. Bulkheads for I don't know why, but Schrodinger's box needs to be. It just sounds like something those guys would talk about. What do you mean Schrodinger's box? It's this video. Come and watch it.
Yeah. Oh, God. Okay, so the next question comes from Earthfire, who asks, quantum jump is supposed to take 20 to 30 minutes to go from one side to another side of the solar system, one side to another. Outside of this interaction, outside of interdiction, what type of interruptions do you think you'll have? Interdiction?
Well, I think interdiction is going to work in various ways, and I think if I remember correctly, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, but Chris Roberts talked about this at one point in a 10 for the Chairman, and he talked about a way to sort of project a disruption field in the path of the ship. So something just like if something flies in front of you, what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to fall out of quantum drive if someone flies in front of you. So then what you can do is you can put some kind of a using Star Trek technobabble gravimetric field in front of the ship, something in front of it that causes it to think inverse tachyon beam, whatever, that causes it to think there's an obstacle so that the ship drops out, and then when it's in that little area it can't go back into quantum, so it has to manually fly out.
It's blocked out, the front of it is actually covered.
Exactly.
And I think and in Elite Dangerous they did something similar with mass locking, where it's like if you were close to an object that had sufficient mass, you couldn't jump. And so the idea would be people could fly next to a target while their buddy was attacking the target, so they would be mass locking the person who's trying to run away, and so they couldn't ever jump, and so a faster ship would get up and attack that target while it was causing problems.
And the other method of interdiction we know, because again he was recently talking about this, is that some ships are going to be faster than others, and I would imagine that interceptors, let's say, people talk about, well, if the Vanguard's supposed to be an interceptor and a long range fighter, why is it so slow? Maybe it's one of the fastest quantum ships out there,
or like the 300. That's one of those things that be like, hey, 300's useless unless you want to interdict somebody, then they can chase down really easily,
And so, you've got one guy flying off in his freelance or whatever you're trying to interdict at a slow quantum speed. The Vanguard literally jumps in front of him and stops and blocks the path, so he has to drop out of quantum speed as well.
Well, and the counterpoint to that is, if I intercept somebody with quantum travel and I make them drop out of the quantum, if they turn around and cruise away and I can't catch them, it's kind of a worthless interdiction. So if they're faster than me at all the other speed besides quantum, I still can't actually catch them.
No, but the idea is that it's still a situation where you're going to want multiple ships doing one role, and that's again right up the alley of Star Citizen's gameplay style, which is no one ship can do everything. And if it can do one thing really well and it can do anything else, you have to retool it to do everything else. So having multiple ships with multiple people playing as different roles will make it so that you have the most efficient way of doing stuff. So a Vanguard might be able to pull someone out, and if he's turning around the other way and trying to cruise out, then suddenly in comes the 350R and it's on its butt the entire time.
The only reason that I like the idea of always happening to, or sometimes needing more ships to be having a more effective job. The reason I don't like it, or I'm kind of against it, is because slowly you start to whittle away what you can do as a solo player. And as somebody who likes to spend time by himself in the deep of space and hang out and, just work on my own, it's hard when a lot of the gameplay mechanics start locking you out. Suddenly you can't bounty hunt because you're just one person. Suddenly you can't explore because you're just one person. You need all these different ships. And so that it can cascade into a point where it's too much.
Well, I think early on, most of the stuff is going to be solo play, but when you're getting up into areas where you're getting multi-billion-dollar, multi-million-dollar bounties, or you're going to deal with like a large section of deep space that you're supposed to scan like an entire planet, or you're going to need a multi-crew ship, or you're going to need multiple people helping you out, just because it just takes too long. And so,
there should be some bounties that need that kind of cooperative play, but in the same sense, there should be some bounties that you can do completely on your own.
Oh for sure.
I think also though that comes down to again, that's the skill argument. A solo player, there's going to be skill ways for them to get around those other limitations. Just knowing your ship, knowing the game better. And a great example is the people that like to complain about how hard interdiction is in the persistent universe right now. It's not that hard if you understand the mechanics. Even if somebody does a blind jump, you can catch them. And the reason why you can catch them is chances are they do the blind jump for just 1 second, just like you, because if you do it too long, you're going to explode. So you do the 1 second blind jump in the same direction they went. If they're within 25 or 30 kilometers of you, they will pop up on your radar, and then you can follow them again. And inevitably, somebody will do a blind jump, and then they'll jump to an actual location. And that's one simple way of catching them. Another way is knowing where they're going to go. If you've damaged them, they're eventually going to be going to one of those repair stations. And if you just jump back and forth from those repair stations, you'll catch them. It's things like that. You've got to think outside the box and not just think of it as a very linear, I got to follow this guy and catch him. Oh, he's gone. I can't catch him now. And that's how that works. And if you build up that skill and that ability, then you will be the guy who makes the money doing it by yourself, because you've learned how to do that.
Well, they've already mentioned with Grim Hex in one of the jump points that they intend to, and it didn't come out with 2.5, so perhaps maybe 2.6. But
Xylo,
hey, Captain Xylo.
Xylo, give Sniffle Wizard a hug for me and tell him he's still my bae.
But in Grim Hex, they intend. So let's say you're a civvy. It's all right. Let's say you're a civilian. Oh, it works here as well. A civilian in Grim Hex. You're not an outlaw. You're just there with friends because it's a safe zone. It's not like a pirate zone. You're safe. But because you're not a pirate, you leave Grim Hex, and all of a sudden, as you're doing a quest, pirates come onto you. That's because there's going to be a chance, if you're not an outlaw, for the pirates to fit a tracking device onto your ship. So if those are going to exist for NPCs, I expect them to exist for players as well. If not just be, like attaching, so in the case of Bayor being on a station and he has his bounty target, his person of interest, he could have tracked them to, Port Olisar or Grim Hex, and they would have gone inside and done their business. But if they landed on like the free landing pads and not inside the hangar, then he could like walk up to the ship and like slap on a device onto his ship, so the next time they leave, he can chase them. But with Ewar coming out, I wouldn't be too surprised if there was like an analog missile that did the exact
That's
same
what I was
thing.
going to say, a tracking missile. I fully expect that. Something that basically sticks to the ship and, I'm sure it would have to have a lifespan, like 15, 20 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
For that time frame, you could track the ship.
Yeah, or if you had like an Avenger Warlock buddy, you could go, yo, like fry my systems real quick so you can get this thing off me.
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of gameplay I look forward to, because I'm like Bayor. I'm going to be mostly a solo player when it comes to anything other than the exploration that requires a crew. If I do bounty hunting, I'm probably going to be just flying my own ship bounty hunting, and I want to discover those odd ways of doing things that isn't what everybody expects to do, and I think it's fun to do that. And it's part of that whole immersive gameplay.
Agreed. Yeah.
Alrighty. So next question comes from, before we get to the next question, I would like to say, hopefully you guys had fun at the Bar Citizen in Florida. Xylo and Twerk and Sniffle, thank you for coming by. Hope enjoy your after party. Try not to get too drunk, and don't let Twerk put any wigs on, please.
If so, take pictures.
Yes, lots of blackmail. I'm sorry, pictures.
And when Sniffle Wizard offers you something, you might want to double check to make sure it's legal in the state that you're currently in.
All right, next question comes from Shinarga. Shingara, if I can speak English right. As SciTech has now been saved by Mad Catz by Logitech, buying the whole division from them, what do you think will be possible? The positive effects for peripherals towards Star Citizen, and most specifically SC HOTAS that SciTech are doing. It's my table, so I'm going to start this off with one little thing. I don't think that Logitech will make a Star Citizen HOTAS, or if they do, they'll delay it so long that it'll be middle of 2 years after launch before that actually comes out. Logitech refused Star Citizen to make a custom Star Citizen HOTAS for originally. Now that they have SciTech, they're dealing with money. Like, they're dealing with, okay, how can we take this division and make it not shit? And so they're going to have to cut a lot of people. They're going to have to cut a lot of products which aren't selling. They're going to have to start trying to get rid of all of their inventory and start building up new. They're going to probably merge their own controllers division with SciTech to see if they can't work them all together, and so they can work it better. I think SciTech will be, in 2-3 years, SciTech will be what it was before it was purchased by Mad Catz. But that being said, I think it means bad things for Star Citizen HOTAS in the long run, just because economics sucks. Go ahead, McKetton.
The positive aspect of this is you can still buy sticks from good manufacturers. That's the positive aspect. There's still Thrustmaster and there's still CH, so you don't even have to worry about SciTech and their crappy quality and whether or not Logitech's going to improve it with their crappy quality.
Yeah, you don't have to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no obligation.
Just because it's a Star Citizen.
Yeah.
But it says Robert Space Industries.
Well, you could put a sticker on another one and you'll be good.
I think KVB actually did that. They actually put a sticker on one of their existing sticks and sold it as a Star Citizen stick. I don't know.
Legit.
Yeah. They advertise it like the Star Citizen HOTAS you can buy now, kind of thing.
Let's be honest though. Do you really want a stick made by RSI? They make the
Aurora.
Is a sturdy ship, but it isn't exactly the most precision piece of equipment.
It would be the equivalent of buying a stick from McDonald's. You know, like this or Disney. It's Disney. It's the Disney stick. You know, it would be what it would be.
I think more accurate. It's Yugo's version of a stick. The Yugo version of a stick. You know, it's
if Logitech do go through with it and they actually make the stick, if it's the same quality as this webcam that I'm using right now, then we're doomed.
Yeah.
I actually like Logitech
I was
products.
gonna say,
haven't had a lot
yeah,
of problems with
that's
them.
I would
webcam
say-
I've
I-
had.
Sucks.
I would say
Logitech controllers are horrible. They're mice and keyboards though, which includes the G13 in my opinion. The G13 is considered a keyboard for me. Are
Yeah, I have
amazing.
the G13 is really good, but actually when I played flight sims, I don't know, I think I ended up giving it away, but I used to have the Logitech HOTAS, and that thing was amazing. It was so nice. What was that? The 9 I don't know what it was, but it had like the
thing about
buttons that you could customize on it. It was really nice.
the thing about the Logitech is that their quality has always been pretty low.
G940.
Early in the day, like early on when they came out, they were kind of the shitty quality, and then they've worked really hard to reverse that to become better quality. The thing about it is that there's been no reason to change. They still had a lot of problems with their sticks because they're cheap, you know. But and so they make cheap materials and cheap all that kind of stuff, so they don't really last very long. But people are still using Logitech, you know, sticks from years ago that they purchased and are having no problems with it. So Logitech has the chance of finishing that gap that they started several years ago, trying to make their products quality for good price. And I think that's probably the reason why they bought SciTech, because they're like, SciTech used to be known as an amazing stick manufacturer. They used to be one of the best in the industry, and then Mad Catz bought them, and they went down. And so now Logitech's buying them, saying, hey, it's a bargain basement. Mad Catz is having trouble. We can buy it from them. They can to help them recover from their losses. So they'll be willing to do it, and we can start actually, you know, producing HOTASes and sticks the way we want to, because now we actually have a division that can do it. It's already set up for us. We don't have to go build one. We have a division. We just need to make sure it runs right. So
Yeah, I mean, if Logitech had bought Thrustmaster, then I'd be like, ooh.
yeah,
But Logitech bought SciTech, and I know
Yeah, it's a
people
step
with those what are those, the X44s, who've
Yeah.
had to send them back like
X45.
7 and 8 times.
you're
Like,
thinking
it's
the
just
X52.
that
X55.
quality is terrible. Yeah, terrible
the-
quality on
The
those.
X45, that was an amazing stick.
No, that
So
was a
the
good stick. I remember that. I was thinking
Those
of
were,
X55.
but those were pre-Mad Catz sticks.
Yeah, that's
the
pre-Mad
thing.
Catz.
But there's also, you know, you'll run into people who say, my X52 is amazing. Did you buy your X52 8 years ago? Yes, I did. And that's why, because that was pre-Mad Catz.
Mhm.
So yeah, they were a great manufacturer at one point. They were the industry standard. I mean, because they were middle of the road pricing and good quality.
yeah. I mean, you'd have to
they
shell it
did
out,
that.
but you know, $150, $200 for a stick that'll last you 5 years. That's if you're playing space games or flight sims or like an Arma or a Battlefield, like that. That's a good deal, you know. Like you get that bit of immersion and sometimes a little bit more control that you wouldn't have had to otherwise. Just like a Track IR set, you know, people buy Track IR sets because, oh well, it gives you it's just a little bit. But if you play a lot of those games that have those kind of head movements and free head look, then it's definitely going to be an investment that you will want to do for your experience. So
I'd love to have one.
I'll talk to you after the cast about that, Maya.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
But yeah, hopefully, I do hope that, and like Paul said, I think it's going to take a couple years, but I do hope that SciTech's quality improves with Logitech in charge of them. But it's not going to happen overnight.
No.
It's not going to happen in the next year. It's going to take. They're going to reorganize. They're going to do some new R&D. In the meantime, they're going to release the same stuff to keep making money. It's not going to be any different. The X56 you buy 6 months from now is going to be no different than the X56 you bought last month. It's going to have the same quality control problems, the same manufacturing standards, all of that, because they're not going to be able to. It's just not possible for them to suddenly just flip switches and say, suddenly we're making good products.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work that way.
Unless it was a devious.
I don't
plan by
follow
Mad
sticks. I
Catz.
don't use them.
Yeah. Alrighty. Next question comes from Director Gunner. Considering hardware constraints costs, when I look at the star map, I see the PU as it was with 24 24 players cap, I guess. I worry that the fully realized Star System PU with all the star systems with large cap per server may not happen by 2018. Of course, I hope it does. It does, but what are your thoughts about it when we might start seeing a big chunk of systems in the PU? Or when we might get seeing a big chunk of... You're talking about like planetary systems? Because if that's the case...
He's going back and forth. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think he's talking about specifically planetary systems. He's essentially like, we have this small amount of players, 24 players, in this universe, and the more you look at how many systems, are going to be like 100-something systems in the game, and just the scope and scale of one unit, one planet, one system, you're going to need a lot of players. You're going to need tons of players.
Right.
But I think the answer is that it's not. At the end of the day, most of the people your interaction is going to be is NPCs. They've said that from the beginning. 9 out of the 10 interactions you're going to have are going to be with NPCs, not players. A player is not going to be...
90% of the population will be NPCs. So if there's 1 million players, there's going to be 9 million NPCs. That's how that's going to work.
Yeah, that also means that 1 million players spread across 120 systems, which are each have their own planets and stations and that kind of stuff.
And the other thing to keep in mind is the way the server architecture is working now is not how it's going to work in the final game. So like we have 24 cap servers, and then of course you're on that server. You can't switch to another server. You can't interact with anybody else. You got to load into a whole different server to do that. But eventually it's going to be dynamic streaming server system where you travel to one system. Everybody's basically on the same server, but they're partitioned in a different zone. Mm-hmm. And you can actually easily transition while in game. If Meyer's in a different zone and we're on different servers, I can go to him no matter what. I don't have to leave and party up or whatever to do that. So eventually it'll be a whole different architecture for that.
Well, because right now we only have one spot to go. Everyone's going to the same place.
Yeah.
Where when we have a whole universe, not everyone's going to be in the same place.
And there's no NPCs. That's the other thing. So a lot of people feel like, oh, it's very empty. It's like, because there's no NPCs, you know? Yeah.
I love the prospect that basically you could be playing the game, you could encounter a ship, and you would see the ship's its designation and all that kind of stuff. But you will never know if it's being controlled by a human being unless you hail them and you go, "Are you human?"
Yeah.
And they reply, if they reply. That's something that's really cool for me.
Yeah,
and then they program it in for the AI to say yes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's an aspect of the gameplay that I am so excited about and also so picky about. Like, I don't want them to be able to scan the ship to see an account name. I don't want them to know it's a player.
Yeah.
Like, and also adds this whole cool emergent gameplay where, like, if you actually name your ship something immersive in the universe, players might not know if you're a person or not. You know, if you don't name your ship the tiny douchebag ship or something like that.
Dick McButtface, Dick McButkus, yeah.
The problem with that is every time if you scan a ship and the name is Luke Skywalker 99. You know it's not an AI player.
However, you do know it's an AI player if you see a pirate that says pirate bracket 475 bracket. That's also immersion break-in.
That's another one of those things we need to go into the verse named Pirate 37.
No, I seriously thought about changing my handle to pirate parentheses like 69 or something and see if I could get away with it.
Well, we've talked about loading into Crusader as Baron Von Duel and Vandal Hunter.
Yeah.
That's actually not a bad idea.
You know,
go out in a glaive and do it.
GDK doesn't have to reinvent the wheel. They just need to name everyone like 360 no scope 420 XXX. That's the name of the ships that need to be flying through of the NPCs and the buttface McGee's and all of the random internet names, because we're talking about centuries in the future. I mean, people are already naming ships Bodie McBoatface. What do you think is going to happen in the distant future?
This is the Bengal Harambe.
Yes. It'd be more like dicks out for Harambe. You know, dicks out for Harambe. And that access honestly would be a kind of a cool thing to run into a ship that's named the UEE Harambe and be like, is that a player? And then finding out it's an NPC, you're like,
yeah.
What?
Thank you, CIG. Fuck with me, you know.
But I would like to see it also based on scanning package. So if you got a crappy scanning package, the only thing you get to see is, well, I know it's a 300 series of some sort. That's all you get to see. But if you have an advanced scanning package, you might get to see, oh, it's this ship registry this number registered to this particular captain.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That'd be
I would
cool.
assume that you would be able to see it in layers, and from what they've talked about in the past, that's kind of what I expect. Is that a generic scan is going to tell you it's a 300i, like you said. A more in-depth scan is going to tell you it's a 300i of this registration number. A more in-depth scan from that would tell you it's a 300i of this registration number with this name attached to the ship, and then the most in-depth scan is going to tell you the name of the owner. But that doesn't mean it's really the name of the owner, because there's also ID spoofing. So I could get an ID spoofer and say that my ship is owned by Bayor of Red when in reality it's not. And then you need another layer of scanning to get past that ID spoofing.
Yeah, I just don't want to see the classic MMO trope of player. You know,
Yeah.
you just
Yeah.
it's got a special tag. Yep, you know that's a player because
CMDR in
Elite.
Elite.
yeah, exactly. I don't want to see any of that. That's so immersion breaking, and it's going to invite. And I have no problem, obviously, with PvP in a game, but I do have a problem with specific player killing. Just see a player kill
Targeting.
them because they're
Yeah.
a player.
Yeah.
Yeah, specifically targeting. And I want that to not be a thing people just do for the fun of it, and instead actually try to engage in the game mechanics and the career mechanics. And it'll encourage that if they can't figure out if people are players or not.
And you
And
don't
I think
know,
that's something every streamer has a problem with.
because of
Yeah,
stream
yeah.
sniping, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
stream
and
sniping.
the whole, if you don't know if it's a player or not, and you don't know who it is initially, you don't know what you're getting into. Like if I jumped into a system and I see Bayor of Red, I know if I attack you, I'm in for a tough fight and I might lose. But if I just jump in and I see 300i and I attack you, and then it turns out it's Bayor of Red, I'm oh shit, I fucked up.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. That
And I
adds
think
that-
that's important because
Yeah.
that adds that risk to it. Like
Exactly.
when you walk into a bar and you're like, I'm gonna swing a punch at that guy over there.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're getting into. Like that could be an MMA pro.
Yeah.
You don't know. You don't know what you've got there, and and that's realistic.
Yep, I agree.
Alrighty. Next question comes from Fastcart. What famous movie moments are you hoping to recreate in Star Citizen or Squadron 42? Like, never tell me the odds or get away from her, you bitch. Kind of.
I'm the king of the world.
Yes. Well, didn't we already just decide that you were going to tie up? No, that was last night. That was Dublar Thackeray. Dublar Thackeray. We're gonna tie. He was gonna tie two people to the front of his 890 jump, so he can always play "My Heart Will Go On" everywhere he goes.
That is amazing.
I ever since they took away the boots, the mag
Mag
boots,
boots?
before I could ever really attempt it, I want to mag boot onto like the front of a Connie in T pose and shout, "I'm the king of the world" as the Connie flies around. I've been wanting to do that.
Well, you can now apparently get on top of the Starfarer.
I know,
So
I'm going to be doing that soon on the Starfare. Yes.
I honestly, Meyer, what would you? Do you have an idea? Anything you want to recreate?
It's simple. We nuke them from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Yeah. How about you, Miss
And
Hartz?
then you can trees.
Fucking A.
No, actually. I like writing my own stories.
Fortune
I'm too
Herb
cool
Bone
for
Path.
movies.
I know. I'm too hipster for that.
Bear.
My favorite thing is actually to recreate just a video game moment. Personally, I just want to be sitting in front of a burning gas giant smoking a fake cigarette.
Yes. There you go. How about you, Witch Kitty?
No,
No.
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 The only thing I want to do is it's actually a video game moment where the scene from cutscene from Halo 2, when they're coming down onto New Mombasa, and Sergeant Johnson gives the speech. Is like there's like regret, and he's like, "Dear humanity, we regret coming to being alien bastards. We regret coming to Earth." I want to do that whole speech in the middle of Operation Pitchfork or something like that. Just some reason so I could recreate that and feel like an undeserved badass kind of thing. So
Actually, one moment. The final episode of Firefly being the bounty hunter dude.
yeah.
Oh, that's a good episode. Yeah,
I love that character. That's one of my
yeah, that's a
favorite
great character.
characters
Yeah.
of any TV movie. The way they created that character was just amazing, top notch. But actually, that reminds me, a good Firefly moment I'd love to recreate is kicking somebody into the engine of a freelancer.
or freaking Cutlass for that matter.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think you say the Firefly moment, an immersive moment was did the primary buffer panel just fall off my Galram ship? Kind of moment when you're going into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
If my ship crashes, it's your fault.
All right. Trillian asks, what's your transition tactic? As in, how would you switch between devices for FPS ship lines, an easy to reach gamepad or joystick, or fold away HOTAS and keyboard and mouse?
I use a table for a desk, an actual like a fold up picnic table, full size, and when I just move my joysticks off to the side. That's how I do it.
What's the question again?
What's your transition between different peripherals? Like, do you just use one peripheral? Do you just use keyboard and mouse, or do you use stick and throttle, or
All right.
do you transition between like gamepad and whatever?
So I use a twin stick setup. So how that works is that I have both the joysticks like on either side, like I'm on push to talk, and then like in the center of that I have my keyboard, but it's pushed a bit further away, so that when I transition from FPS to from being on ship to FPS, I just pull my keyboard towards me and play.
Yeah.
There was actually a really interesting peripheral that was showcased at BritizenCon, and it's like it's basically a custom built pod for or flight pod or something for Star Citizen, and it had like a space for like swivel edges for your joysticks, so you could like bring them in and then push them away when not using them, and like pull the keyboard towards you. I can't remember what it's called, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually plan on putting now that I've got a better chair for it, putting my sticks on the armrest of the chair, mounting them there with those Visa mounts that can then fold off to the side. I plan on doing that eventually, but right now the table's big enough that I can just literally push the sticks out of the way when I don't need to use them.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, Gamble sent me a message. I want to see what this is.
I hate you all. Go to hell.
See you guys credited. Oh, oh, he did an animation with him standing in front of the flag, holding his hand over his heart, shaking his head like.
Oh.
But he's got to represent being the only Dutch Canadian that's streaming Star Citizen. He has to represent Dutch Canada today. I mean, I did it. You did it, McKetton. Sergeant or Commander Z-Man did it. You have to represent. And respect Dutch Canada Day. Think about all the Dutch Canadians who died for your sins.
There are a lot of Dutch Canadians.
Yeah.
It is actually a thing.
You just told underscore in Discord chat, take off, you hoser.
Oh no, but
that's Canadian heritage.
Let me see if I can't grab this. But I have a stick and a throttle. I have a X52 throttle and a T16000M stick, and I usually just put my
that's a nice combo.
Keyboard between the stick and the throttle, and then on the other side of the stick is my just mouse. But the one thing I'm going to replace with is this.
Going to Bob's room right now to get his
does that say for
box.
Oh my God, he's taking his pants off.
Cover your eyes, children.
I didn't sign up for this.
So I'm going to use the G13 for my FPS, but I got to figure out how to set it up. And I think it sets up just like the HOTAS does. You have to go set up the actual FPS controls and use that as the input for the FPS controls in order to make it work. But using this means that I can have a much smaller space and can just flip back and forth between them. So I'm actually going to try that out tonight, probably.
Yeah, I'm considering actually getting one of those mini keyboards for something like that.
I think that was the last question. Go ahead.
That was all I was saying. I'm considering using a mini keyboard for that kind of purpose as well.
Yeah.
So
I use mini pads. I've been using mini pads for over a decade now. So I'm not using G13. I set that up for FPS and for flight.
This Logitech, so it'll take a few hours to get the drivers right. Well, the thing is, I tried to plug it in and it didn't work. It wasn't registering at all, but I was also using mouse and keyboard, and I think it registers as a game device, not as a keyboard. So
yeah, it does.
So it has to be a little different. All righty. Well, I think that's the last question for the evening. Thank you guys all so much for hanging out with us. Please do follow all of these people. It's pod follow. all these wonderful streamers. Check check them all out.
Mirror.
Mirror. And be sure to catch Bulkheads at bulkheads.tv. And of course, Perverse the Verse is going to be at Sophie Girls.
Diverse the Verse.
Yeah, Diverse the Verse. Not Perverse the Verse.
Sophie's Girls stream a week from Sunday. That'd be the 25th at 7 p.m. Eastern
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
okay, good.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So that's next week. Yeah, okay. So next week is next Saturday?
Sunday.
Next
Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And yeah, and you can always follow all these people. They all stream. Star Citizen. I believe Witch Kitty's going to be taking a break, but you should follow her on Twitter because she actually has. She's going to keep you updated on the week that she'll be back. So, yeah, but does the T60000M have a whammy bar? It doesn't. No. Actually, it does. It has.
Oh.
This.
He
So,
was
you know.
asking if you could do it with a Guitar Hero guitar. Somebody did that. I can't remember who it was.
They did
But
beat Dark Souls with it.
Somebody set up Star Citizen to fly with a Guitar Hero guitar, and it was working. They were using like the.
I want to know how,
Yeah, I can't remember
because I can't get this to work with Star Citizen.
It-
I tried.
If I can get this to work with Star Citizen, I'll try to walk you through it and see if I can get that.
They
to
probably
do
use.
Well, no,
auto
this
hotkey.
doesn't show up as a game controller.
Oh,
That's the issue.
but yeah, they probably used auto hotkey to translate the button pushes and stuff to key presses. Would be my guess. But
Yeah, with the right like program, you probably could.
yeah,
I would like to do a Squadron 42 with a power glove.
Oh God! Trying to land on your bangle with a power.
All right. So thanks again for everyone who shows up. Thank you for all these followers, all these wonderful streamers and content creators. Thanks to all of you who have followed, and be sure to follow these guys. And like I say every night, I hope to see you guys again soon. But if I don't, hope to see you someday in the black. Have a good night, guys.
bye.